G'day, battlers, and today we are here for the third and final stream for the Go Stadium League Finals. Today we're going to be crowning the 5th and 6th champions in the Go Stadium League structure. First, we're going to be crowning the champion of the Vermilion Elite Trainer lobby, and then we're going to be crowning the champion of the God tier lobby. So, and again, as I said in the last two, if that means nothing to you, do not worry, because we are going to give a quick little recap about how Go Stadium works and all the rest of it. But first, I do want to say hello, because we have we have a God and a Goddess with us right this second. We've got NHoff and Jmillz113, both here to help us cast through this evening, this morning, whenever it may be for you. But NHoff, how's it going?
It's going great. So just an introduction. I'm NHoff. I'm one of the meta analysts and meta developers with Go Stadium. And I am in the God tier along with Jmillz and a bunch of other competitors from the previous session of League Playoffs. And into this season, I'm paired with some people that have been winning the past few days and who will be, crowned tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Jmillz, how's it going? Tell us about yourself.
I'm Jmillz. Also a fellow, I guess, season 1 God tier member. Maybe we can say that at this point.
Boomer God.
Former God. Former and current, I guess. We're both former current gods and goddesses. I'm a Go Stadium player, definitely not an analyst. That's beyond my abilities, but I also stream sometimes. You may know me as the new Candleman, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Someone who may have hit legend with only candle teams. Is that may be correct?
That did happen. That was Great League. That was definitely very interesting.
Yeah. So
it's like Talonflame, just a lot glassier.
Exactly, and then Shadow Ball to nuke basically everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, somewhat of a stronger nuke, more of a neutral nuke as opposed to the Brave Bird. But with all of that said, we'll give a quick little intro about what Go Stadium is. Starting off with this little graphic here. So essentially, when new trainers join the Go Stadium League structure, they're going to start off in the Ace Trainer tier. They're then battling it out in monthly cups. We've got both Silph Arena metas and metas created by Go Stadium, like the Cliffhanger meta, which I think is the most popular one in Go Stadium, or in potentially the most popular non-Silph custom meta, outside of Go Battle League, of course. But Cliffhanger are a huge meta. So they battle every month, and then at the end of the Go Stadium season, players that perform really well are promoted to a higher tier. So you can be promoted to Gym Leader, then up to Elite Trainer, and then finally to that God tier right up the top, where there is only one God tier lobby. So obviously, a lot of top battles up there, and today we are going to be taking a look at that God tier, the league finals for that God tier, as well as one of the Elite Trainer tiers in the Vermilion City. So before we jump into the brackets and who is actually playing today, what we're first going to take a look at is the meta that they're going to be playing in today, which you'll be familiar with if you've caught either of the last two, but just for those people who are coming in fresh, we've got the Horizon Cup meta, which is another custom meta put together by Go Stadium. And NHoff, I hear that you may know something about what the deal is here. Do you kind of want to give us a bit of a backstory on the Horizon Cup?
Yeah, so the Horizon Cup is a limited format in what Pokemon you can pick. A good parallel to those who have played Silph is similar to the Commander Cup, where you have one slot that you can pick your commander. Here, you have 2 slots. It's open Great League, so it's not type-based, but there is a flat ban and then 2 Pokemon that you can pick. And Torpedo Runner, the mind behind the Go Stadium tiered structure, came to myself and some of the other analysts in Go Stadium months and months back, began ideating this meta, and it's ultimately based around cores and restricting some of the cores that you would see in an open Great League. You see in these restricted picks, you have Skarmory, Swampert, you have Hypno and Umbreon, you have a lot of these power picks, and by making this Horizon Cup meta, it kind of forces some of the more out there picks. And we've seen that over the past couple days, myself as a viewer watching some of the other finals, seeing things like Aromatisse or other things that you wouldn't see in your day-to-day, like Go Battle League or in an open Great League tournament. So the banned picks are right there on screen, the restricted picks are right there on screen, and anything else is quote-unquote free game. Feel free to bring all the Chandelure you want in this meta.
Yeah, and as you were kind of saying, and actually I've seen the teams for today, and there is some there's still some spice to come. It's some never before seen spice in these league finals. So I'm really excited to get into it. But I mean, Jmillz, the man who is coming in and out of existence, what's your kind of first impressions of this Horizon Cup meta?
Yeah, hopefully something will happen with the webcam and it'll magically fix itself by the end of the stream. But, well, obviously the first thing I see is that Chandelure is not limited. So obviously, you know, Chandelure just runs wild off of, like, I see Azu's banned, I see Basti's banned, like, there's a Liquor that's banned. Chandelure obviously runs wild. But in more seriousness, I do see things like ice types. I feel like ice types could have a lot of play in this format. I was watching a little bit earlier today, and I think I saw Shadow Lapras one wild, which I could see making a lot of sense with some of the things that are banned, especially seeing a lot of steel types banned. Could also see something like a Frostlass doing something along the same lines. It'll be very interesting whether people go for cores in terms of choosing their two, or if they go for two very strong picks and end up making a core out like of one of the non-restricted mons with one of those two limited mons. I think it's gonna be very interesting to see what the picks will be. And also the cups like this require knowledge of kind of spicier picks, like a pick that maybe a lot of people are not going to be expecting. And it'll be very interesting to see what spice picks we see and how these trainers use them.
Yeah, I mean, we do have, 28, I think it is, 10 along the top, 9 and 9, 28 picks that are restricted. So you can only have 2 out of that full, 28 of the top meta picks. So I'm definitely going to see some branching out into those spicier, different, going into those other cores. But with that said, let's jump into the bracket and take a look at the first bracket, which is the Vermilion Elite Trainer lobby that we are going to be watching today. All right, so this is essentially similar to the last two. If you have the last two streams, if you have caught them, we have Bor14 More, who topped the Vermilion Elite Trainer lobby, the #1 seed, who has been put right through to the finals. So this, the rest of the battles is essentially determining who is going to be taking on Bor14 More for the chance to take that Vermilion Championship title. I likened it yesterday to the minor premiership and major premiership. Bor14 More winning the minor and now just has to get that one battle for the major. We've also got Holden McNuggets in there at the #2 seed alongside Darkrai Shaman and TX Rangers Fan, who have all been put through to round 2. And then seeds #5 and 6, who came 5th and 6th in the Vermilion lobby, Ahmad, ZR and Verdugo, 20 centimeters, both in that round 1 as well. So they're going to be playing off there. This is a best of 5 set, so they have to get to 3 wins to progress through to the next round. And as you can probably tell, it is single elimination as well. You've only got that one chance. If you lose a best of 5, you are unfortunately out. Additionally, we've got the greener boxes on the right-hand side, and if anyone gets into those green boxes, they are guaranteed a spot in the God tier in the next Go Stadium season. You can see Bor14 More already solidified his position there, but there's still 2 more up for grabs as well before the championship spot. In saying that, anyone who does not get to those green boxes isn't necessarily out for the count, and there are playoffs that took place after these league finals to get some extra slots into that God tier lobbies. Now, NHoff and Jmillz are going to be your casters for the stream. I'm just going to be the host fella hanging out down the bottom in case we need to pop in and say anything special. But yeah, let's jump into the Ahmad ZR versus Verdugo matchup in that round 1 and take a look at the teams. And there we go, and straight away we are already seeing some spice that we have not seen before in any of the 4 finals that we have watched so far. So NHoff, straight away, what are you kind of seeing between these two teams, between Verdugo and Ahmad? And actually, sorry, before you do, I do want to say as well that even though Ahmad, so we're going to be watching from Ahmad's perspective, but that does not mean necessarily that Ahmad is the victor. It's just randomized whose perspective we are going to be watching. But yeah, jumping back to the teams, what's kind of standing out to you?
I mean, obviously, it's hard to look over these two teams and not focus on that Shadow Hitmonchan, which I absolutely love here. Very versatile as a Pokemon, is going to surprise your opponent in some way or another. And the Unova Stunfisk is also something I really like, just seeing out of the gate as kind of unique, kind of has been overshadowed since its sibling from Galar has appeared in the game. and has always been a favorite of mine in Go Battle League and in other open formats. In terms of like team construction, you can see obviously that Hypno Umbreon from Verdugo is from the 2 restricted picks, and then on Ahmad that Swamp Alola Ninetales. Both of those are very easy brings in the same like line of 3. So it'll be interesting to see whether they run both or if they're picking those as they're restricted to bait their opponents into trying to counter them. Say like Verdugo's trying to bring out the Registeel, for instance, by saying, oh, my Hypno's kind of weak to that, Umbreon doesn't love seeing it, but I'm going to get that Shadow Hitmonchan on Registeel and just go to town. Just interesting to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm noticing the Meganium on Ahmad's side. I have a feeling that Meganium is going to have a lot of play against Verdugo's team. It could even be the rare scenario where we see a Meganium as... Even Ferrothorn, depending on that second move, it's not going to be necessarily be a very clean matchup. We also see double Mud Boys on Ahmad's side with the Swampert and...
Definitely. Yeah, Ferrothorn's looking very strong from Verdugo. And you're right, unless Hypno or Hitmonchan is packing a Fire or an Ice Punch, that Meganium's going to kind of run wild. And even then, Hitmonchan can't tank a Frenzy Plant, for instance.
Exactly right. So
2 move sets, like the Hitmonchan and the Hypno, that could really be running anything, and that could completely dictate how they want to run the team. And Ahmad's probably going to be making a lot of guesses along the way,
which is really interesting in a best of 5.
Yeah, best of 5 does allow you to
see scenarios.
Oops, sorry.
Really don't. They want to make sure they're not revealing it for the next game.
Let's jump into it.
Started.
Take it away. Oh, we've actually got a few. We've got 8 extra seconds at the start here, but I think
we get to see the name convention.
Always important.
And the shiny Swampert. Yeah, that's double Mudboy Registeel. I like that from Ahmad, kind of recognizing that if the Euphis comes out, if anything but the Ferrothorn really. And they bait the Fire Punch.
So that's another clear scenario where they're just not showing the second move. That does also mean it's likely either Thunder Punch or Shadow Ball or even Focus Blast in the back. So it'll be interesting to see if they reveal it.
Yeah, you would never use Fire Punch over Ice Punch. It's a Psyshock!
Or it's Psyshock!
Psyshock from Shadow Hypno, I love that. I like that quite a bit.
Very well done, Verdugo. This is gonna hurt.
Oh, they just let it go. Trying to call the Stone Edge, I guess.
Yeah.
And the
Hypno, I guess, prefer the energy on this Hypno. We've already seen Fire Punch revealed, so they're going to throw that into... I'm expecting the Registeel, yeah. What's in the back here?
Yeah, they've revealed both moves on the Hypno. Very important to have, like, in the first game, have that happen.
Eufisk is the only thing Verdugo can really have in the back that can threaten this Registeel outside of the Hypno. So it'll be curious to see if they have it.
Yeah, at this point... Ferrothorn, okay.
Okay, this is interesting because the... And Ferrothorn makes a very nice play there.
But that Registeel is low. If Ferrothorn can just farm that out, yeah, it might be able to double Power Whip here.
In fact, yeah, Power Whip should KO at this range. Oh, just barely does, but one more bullet he will do it.
Does just enough. Very well played on Verdugo. A lot of discipline there, not bringing out the Ferrothorn as soon as the Quagsire came out and kind of holding it back for the Swampert.
They haven't even very 5-head not reveal the Shadow Hitmonchan moveset and just let it go, knowing that Hypno is going to have a lot of play in the back.
Definitely.
I'll be curious to see if Ahmad goes back to that double ABA Mudboy strat, especially knowing that Verdugo did bring the Ferrothorn. So you may end up seeing something like I could see like a Driftlim coming out in the lead this game. Where
Definitely. All 3 of those very weak to Driftlim. And we see a Ninetales going to be fearing that Fire Punch, but no Mudboys at all for Ahmad this game.
Charm Ninetales as well.
Yeah, putting on a lot of pressure on this Hypno. And this 180 of a team, really, just saying, I'm going to threaten that Ferrothorn. Catches the move on Drifbloom. It's a Fire Punch.
They're staying in.
Yeah, and we know that it's Fire Punch and Psyshock, so... Yep, there's a Psyshock.
Did the Verdugo bring the same team?
Okay, it looks like there was some Mewtwo lag there, but the confusions came through. Yeah, I'm interested. Verdugo does bring the Ferrothorn in. And...
Shadow Hitmonchan in the back. So this is looking... I mean, it's looking potentially problematic here. It looks like Ahmad might be able to take this one.
Definitely. If you can line up, obviously, the Registeel on this, the Charmer on Shadow Hitmonchan, I'm sure, takes it out in a few seconds. There we go. Down it goes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 2
Fire Punch.
Yeah, so Meganium's a little bit less safe as is Registeel, but still, yeah, that's information for Ahmad for sure going into the next next 3. That was game 2.
Yeah. It's all split up. Yeah, it is interesting that we have not seen the Meganium yet. It is basically it's very outside of the Euphis matchup. It doesn't really hard win any of these matchups. It seems like a very flexible pick.
It's just very solid.
Yeah.
So that ties it at 1-1 each, right?
1-1.
Okay, making sure I'm keeping track. Yeah.
Right. Shout out to Dylan as well if he's also probably loving that that Ahmad is not bringing it.
Okay, Drifloon into Hitmonchan, and that's going to be pretty drastic of a lead win for Ahmad. Even Thunder and Ice Punch, I don't think, really threaten this big balloon.
Or a 2-hit KO or a 3-hit KO, especially after an Icy Wind.
Yeah, I would put my money on 3. Ooh, wait, no, okay. Hitmonchan is just that that glassy that it can just power through. Yeah, my mind always goes... Oh, okay. No shield here. I said my mind always goes to, like, the punches aren't that great in terms of, like, parameters, but it's Hitmonchan and it's Shadow, and then it's super effective. Kind of a recipe for domination. Okay, so we get,
mutual
again...
Looks like it's mutual. Rose the Earthquake before dipping, which is a little interesting knowing that Ferrothorn is a hard wall. No shield. I'm wondering if you can Flash Cannon and lock on down. I don't know if that's a play that we would... Oh, they do have Thunder. That might change everything.
So that's one of the possibilities for Verdugo to not have a terrible matchup here, but I think it's all but Ahmad's at this point. Registeel in versus the Hypno, shield advantage, has an entire Meganium in the back.
Against this entire team, because now Fortress has nothing to hit back at that Meganium, and at least Meganium has Earthquake to go back for neutral damage.
Yeah, Ferrothorn being on that Power Whip Thunder, completely walled by its own grass typing, its brethren of the grass, and here we see just this Frenzy Plant's just gonna not do as much as I expected.
It doesn't KO. Yeah.
Yeah, Shadow Hypno still very tanky, but should just close it out with some Vine Whips, flipping its antenna back and forth, and closing that third game out in favor of Ahmad.
Powerful, and you combine a Flower Petal with a Brachiosaurus, there's just not much you can do.
It's intimidating. It's an Illumina Pokemon. From Snap, it's got wild powers.
Little did we know that they translated to Pokemon.
Certainly against this team, it's very, very safe, and Ahmad knows that now. After that Thunder Show. Okay, Ninetales into Hypno. Again, these Charms are going to be packing on the damage.
We saw this game 1. It is a very even match. Like him getting to throwing this move first, it forces the Ninetales to make decisions and really think about whether they want to shield before the Hypno has to.
Definitely. And we see that Registeel and Meganium duo in the back. Interesting. Ahmad chooses to double shield here, presumably saying, okay, your only two like counters to Registeel are Hitmonchan or Fisk, and like basically I'm gonna make sure I get alignment to get my Meganium on them.
I was just about to say, I was wondering if this Hitmonchan was going to be able to sweep, but he makes a fantastic play of not letting himself get farmed down.
Yeah, and this definitely should. Yeah. Oh! That is
interesting.
Yeah, and the Meganium is not healthy enough to take out the Ufisk, so Registeel is going to be, you know, kind of dealing with some heavy fire from these mud bombs.
Undershocks. Okay. This is not going to KO, but I think you're going to see Alolan Ninetales come in here.
I'm curious if Ahmad's gonna wait for Verdugo to throw a move and then swap in A9 to basically force the next move up there.
Makes the
Auto move instead. Yeah. Some stylish finish. Some flair to it. And then that flash cannon should resisted still clean out that pancake. And there it goes.
Yeah. And with that, we've
pretty well done to try to get that win from the jaws of defeat, but very well done by Ahmad and advancing to the next round.
All right, so updating the bracket here, we've got Ahmad ZR heading on to take on Holden McNuggets in the next round. And we're actually going to be hopping over to the other side of the bracket. First, though, we're going to take a look at brajShaman taking on TX Rangers Fan. And whoever wins in both of these matchups is going to be going through to God tier. So definitely a lot on the line here as we jump into this next battle. All right, so taking a look at these new teams from brajShaman and TX Rangers Fan, you will notice that Jmillz has suddenly become frozen. He's just going to be an image. He's going to be trying his ventriloquist routine. He's going to be speaking to us through still image form from here on out. But jumping over the teams now.
It's if your parents ever told you, you know, if you make that face, it'll stick like that. It's exactly what's happened.
Yeah, the wind just changed.
I'm just so excited to be here. It needed to stay on the screen the entire time, so we're making sure it's captured well.
Yeah, but so hopefully any freezing issues that were happening on the last one should be all fixed from here on out. But NHoff, take us through what you're kind of seeing from these two teams for this round.
Yeah, I see from TX Rangers Fan, I see Melmetal, which I haven't seen in like any open style format in a good while, and I always love it coming to play. A very fast Pokemon with that Thunder Shock and those fast charge moves. I see he's picked two very strong Pokemon in Scrafty and Alolan Ninetales from his restricted picks, and then opted for some complement cores in the non-restricted. So Whiscash pairs very well with both Talonflame and Drifblim, kind of like that Swamp Scarm, like basic Mudboy Flyer style. And then Darkrai Shaman, I love this team, and I'm very biased because last season for the New Bark Finals, I ran both Cresselia and Cantonian Ninetales, and I've always loved Cantonian Ninetales, and this team as a whole from Darkrai Shaman just has so much bulk. You see both of those restricted picks, Umbreon and Cresselia, two of the bulkiest Pokemon in Great League. You've got Dugong, which is going to be, you know, debuffing a lot of stuff. Basically, if it can avoid Scrafty or Melmetal, it's going to be dragging out those fights. You've got Nidoqueen, which is pretty tanky on its own, and Drifblim again. Mirror of the Blimps here with those ridiculous health pools. Jmillz, what do you think of these two teams coming together?
Honestly, my love of fire types goes straight to the Talonflame. And obviously there is a Kanto Ninetales and Dark Right Shaman side as well. I see a lot of potential for this Talonflame to sweep if it's given the right opportunities. There really isn't anything that directly hard counters it on Dark Right Shaman side. You have things like, I mean, Umbreon can outbulk it. Obviously, Dugong can hit back. But I see a lot of play for that Talonflame. A lot of similarities. We see the Drifblim. I see an Ice type on both sides. Maybe there's not a lot of similarities, but I agree with your assessment about the bulk on Dark Right Shaman side. The Melmetal, I think, is going to be a very interesting pick on Texas Rangers fan side. As long as it avoids the Nidoqueen, it's going to have a lot of play.
Definitely. And yeah, the Cresselia's bulk almost comes back to bite it if it gets lined up against that Talonflame. Assuming that it's on the standard Grass Knot and Moonblast set. But that could also come back to Dark Right Shaman's favor if, you get a sneaky Future Sight on them, if Dark Right happens to be running that. But definitely a lot of play for Talonflame, I agree.
Yeah, well,
absolutely. I'm actually seeing a lot of play for a Scrafty Melmetal backline. Because basically, really both of them are only really threatened by Nidoqueen. So if you can use one to bait that Nidoqueen out, the other could have a lot of play.
Definitely agree.
Classic ABB.
So we see this Dugong lead into Drifloon, very good for Dark Right Shaman here. An immediate swap into Talonflame, like you were saying, Jmillz is very strong against Dark Right's team here, and does not respect the Brave Bird. Luckily...
I like the play from the Talonflame. It's going to start building up, and we're just going to see how much work this thing can do. Going for the Water Pulse.
The sneaky Water Pulse. And it goes through!
Works. Wow, he actually made that work.
Yeah, interesting then the swap to Nidoqueen, because then here, anyone who's played Vigoroth versus a Drifblim knows everything resisted really hurts, and that's kind of the case for Nidoqueen here.
Yeah. I'm wondering if this is something that the Nidoqueen can just, if it's one of those matchups where it can just start Poison Fanging, and but it also decides to no shield. I guess that makes sense. Keep dealing with the Dugong.
Yeah, that's my guess here, is that Dark Right just really wants to keep that Cresselia with 2 shields, recognizing, the things that Rangers fan could have left. And there's the Scrafty.
Ooh. Okay. I mean, the Moonblasts are going to hurt a lot. I don't actually know. I'm assuming it one-hit KOs, but I don't know for sure.
I think any fairy move that isn't Charm, 1-hit KOs, and then Charm just 2-hit KOs.
Gotcha.
But doesn't get the...
I hate to Scrafty shows here when I don't know matchups like this. So, goes for a power-up punch bait there. Very nice.
Gets it completely. Yeah, Scrafty being a real problem for your Chandelure, I'm sure.
Yeah. Surprisingly, if shields are up, Chandelure can win that matchup, but it's not the most fun one to be in.
Yeah, many foul play threats and so on.
Yeah.
So they throw the Icy Wind there. Now this is a very interesting situation to be in, because you have both those Nidoqueen and Cresselia in the back that might be able to chip this down. But I think the Scrafty just has too much energy. Yeah. Energy and health.
The Grass also doesn't have a lot of energy. Maybe a catch, maybe it would have worked, but very tough situation there. And very well played by Texas Rangers fan. We also mentioned before, I believe the original Go Stadium champion. I think he won the first ever league championships way back.
Right, way back. And definitely that Scrafty just eliminating Dark Right Shaman's plan, especially getting those power-up punches baited, was really great for Texas Ranger there.
Yeah. The second that Nidoqueen was gone, that Scrafty was able to go to town. After landing that bait, the game was there was very little that Dark Right Shaman could do.
Definitely. So if we can pull up that game 2.
I'll be curious this time if they decide to keep the Talonflame. I did shed a little bit of a tear seeing it go away that quickly. Now we have Cresselia going into A9.
And this is keep the little Ninetales away from the Umbreon. And we get this again.
Alright. Let's see if either the Talonflame learns its lesson or decides that it likes the play last time and decides to let it go anyway. Goes for the icy win this time.
Yeah, this is an interesting play, like basically saying, are you going to fall for the same thing twice, or are you going to wise up and shield and then fall for the bait, the new bait, and just lets it go down.
Oh man, this Talonflame's going to put in some work.
Yeah.
Brings in the Umbreon, which makes sense. Neither of Cresselia's moves will KO a Talonflame at that range.
And the Umbreon is not going to look great against the Alola Ninetales in the back. But you're putting a lot of weight on this, on the shoulders of this Cresselia, depending on what's in the back for TX Ranger fan. Either that's crafty again, you know, or a Melmetal, like anything could give some problems unless it's like a Whiscash kind of.
They're really playing for that Whiscash, and he's staying in, so it might be the Whiscash in the back.
Yeah, that's what Darkright's really hoping for at this point. Or Scrafty that faints to a singular Moonblast, I want to say here.
We're going to find out right now.
Doesn't quite.
Massively tanking that like it's nothing. It's I guess assuming they didn't have enough energy for the foul play, but it's also fair on the crest just to be safe because this Moonblast is going to land, and I think either take out A9 or put it very low.
Yeah, I think this is now within snarl range for the Umbreon, especially with the Moonblast debuffing its attack.
Yeah,
actually, coming right
like
down.
It mattered. Looking like that debuff actually mattered. Well, very, very well done by Texas Rangers fan to get that debuff, and or no, not by Texas Rangers, by Darkrai Chum to get that
Darkrai,
debuff. Yeah, my apologies.
Yeah, really showing how shield discipline can be such a big deal, especially in the back there. That Scrafty, had a shield, and again, like, the shields were used in smart ways early in the match, but Scrafty, again, could have just run through Darkrai Shaman's remaining Cresselia if it weren't for that pesky Moonblast. So now we see Umbreon versus Talonflame in this third match of ours.
So if I'm the Umbreon, we get some fun lag at the start here. Looks like it's mutual. If I'm the Umbreon, I would... Oh, yeah, there was definitely... The Umbreon is definitely a little behind there, because usually the play if you're the Umbreon is to try to CMP tie there and hope that the Talonflame throws a Brave Bird. Looks a little behind.
Yeah, and we see just playing to, the neutral, hoping for the no-shield here for the Umbreon player. Brings in the Cresselia, which, as we've mentioned, can be kind of a farm fest for Talonflame, but opts to, on Texas Ranger, bring in that Drifblim, which is very good in its own right against Cress.
This is very good. This Cress will barely live this Shadow Ball. I wonder if he still gets to a Moonblast.
Yeah, it is tight with those hexes, and he gets it. And this is actually really good for Darkrai Shaman. Gets that Drifblim away from the Nidoqueen, which kind of like comped in a ABB style fashion. Brings back in the Umbreon, which will definitely tank a Flame Charge pretty well.
Gets to another one here. I'm assuming they just double shield the Nidoqueen. Makes a lot of sense. I think they're anticipating Scrafty in the back.
Yeah, the only thing that really punishes this Nidoqueen is if there's a Whiscash in the back. And even there, the Nidoqueen's going to have so much energy coming out of this Talonflame.
Absolutely.
And you see that last Incinerate. Yeah. Now, just... What's it called? Steve, you said it yesterday's cast. I'm Nidoqueen, I Poison Fang, I win. And this Scrafty with nowhere to go, nowhere to clear those debuffs, is just going to get pummeled by this Poison Jab. Watermelon-looking creature.
Very nice call there. I don't know. I wonder if he had not, if they'd thrown the foul play, if that would have KO'd with the counters at that range. I think it would have been very close.
Yeah, definitely.
Big win there. And now we're 2-1. Texas Rangers fan, a former champion in his own right, on the brink of elimination.
Yeah, definitely on the back foot. Gonna be, seeing what really can come to play on this. Haven't seen that Whiscash yet. Haven't seen that Melmetal yet. We see the Scrafty straight away. Very good lead for Texas Ranger fan.
I like this
Again,
swap
that
out. We saw already that Cresselia can win the zeros here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's how it's going to play out, and then you might hope that the Nidoqueen's going to sweep again if you're Dark Right Shaman.
Yeah, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Definitely can apply to Nidoqueen here for them. Very interesting to see. Went for the Icy Wind first, and now with Shadow Ball makes quite a difference in how that match plays out.
Very surprised that Darkrai tried to throw on alignment there instead of trying to force a shield with that Moonblast. I think that's gonna now you lose switch and you don't get a shield, and now you really just need to hope Nidoqueen has a lot of play, which it will have some against this Talonflame.
Definitely, but will it have enough is the big question, because you don't want that Dugong to just get farmed out by that Scrafty in the back.
Absolutely. You're gonna get they're gonna trade shields right now, right here. I think the Talonflame might already be at another move. I've lost track if they're at 4 or 5. But once they get the second shield, they're gonna probably sweep this game with the Scrafty.
Yeah, and here this Nidoqueen will feint to a foul play on the Scrafty end. Really disciplined from Darkrai, getting those those proper timings, throwing 2 poison jabs and then the Fang consistently against that Talonflame, but it shouldn't really make a huge impact here because, again, you're down 1 shield, you're Dugong against a Scrafty, it's punching your ice, it's not exactly where you want to be, but this does get pretty close here, so it'll come down. It is not, it's a pop.
I don't think this KOs, unfortunately, but it's going to be very close.
It is debuffed, so... Oh, just that close. Absolutely.
Oh, man.
Texas Ranger fan blowing off his fingers, thanking himself for getting that high rank Scrafty, during that one incense event or whatever. And saying thank you so much for hanging on through that Icy Wind and Ice Shard.
Maybe even having a trade with an actual Texas Ranger to get that Scrafty where he needed it.
Very sentimental, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
So Darkrai Shaman going for a very interesting play here, staying in until the debuff could be had, and then catching the move on the Umbreon.
I really like this play. Talonflame has so much play against almost everything on the team, to the point where it makes a lot of sense to do a fun J. Robin Stacks chip and dip and make it way easier for the Umbreon.
Yeah, make it way easier for the Umbreon, and then tank a lot of damage on it, so that the Scrafty doesn't get the farm that it would need to, try to take over the game.
Absolutely.
It's going to come right back in.
All the way down here, and maybe throw a foul play on the Nidoqueen, depending on what he has in the back.
Yeah, and how that back Pokemon aligns with Dugong is going to be the real question. Looks pretty rough.
Even a Shadow Ball really doesn't threaten Dugong that much. It does throw the Shadow Ball. It does a good chunk, but these Ice Shards and Icy Winds are just be too much for the Stripling.
Yeah, it's like we mentioned from seeing the teams, this bulk on Darkrai Shaman's team, when aligned properly, just makes it so devastating. Does shield the Icy Wind, which would do, crumbs against this Dugong, but...
This might be another Icy Wind here. Yes.
Yep.
Which, basically heals it, but it is a CMP tie. So at the very least, a good play on Texas Rangers fans' side to force that CMP tie. In other games, it may have won in the match, but this is just going to be a little too much for the Scrafty to overcome.
Yeah, I think the Nidoqueen's still out of foul play range. Yep. And because the pup didn't happen, it's not going to be able to counter it out. I think this Poison Fang plus a couple jabs should close that out, although it might get dicey, especially with that. Yeah.
It's
just barely.
Another scenario where it looks like it's definitely over, and then the Pokemon survives with only a couple HP. Very well played by Darkrai. Very close. All 5 battles were very close, and congratulations to Darkrai for advancing the next round.
Extremely good set there. from both players.
Yeah, and as with the last two, if you caught it, we do not have an update graphic for that one particular matchup, but brajSF has secured themselves a spot in the Go Stadium God tier in the next Go Stadium season. And again, TX Rangers fan still has a chance through the Go Stadium playoffs after the fact, which we'll give you an update on a little bit later. But we're going to hop over back to the top bracket where Ahmad ZR, after going 3-1 against Verdugo, is going to be taking on Holden McNuggets, who is definitely a very strong battler. So I'm interested to see what the teams are going to be when we pop in there. Okay, so Holden McNuggets, we're going to be seeing it from his perspective, and he's definitely brought a fun little pick that does get banned a lot of the time, but it has not been banned here. NHoff, you sounded very excited here.
So if anyone knows me, you know my blood is boiling right now. Every time that I see a self meta or I see like an open format with Pachirisu, my hand goes to the ban hammer. I want to, if I get a feedback line, I want to tell them, I hate seeing this thing. It's extremely frustrating, and it's frustrating because I love Pachirisu. I love how it is in Great League. I do not have one because I am not in that region of the world. Extremely adorable, extremely lovable, extremely good, and I'm sure Holden's gonna, if it shows up in these matchups, which it's gonna be hard pressed with 2 water types and a grass type, but if it shows up, it's gonna be adorable, and if it lines on that Drifloom, wreaking havoc with its cute little squirrel self.
Some very interesting lines here. The first thing I notice is the Registeel has a lot of play against this team. You could potentially, if you're holding McNuggets, you could 2-shield with Altaria. And, I mean, the Toxicroak's a fairly solid matchup, but it doesn't appreciate a flash scan. So if that Toxicroak does get chipped, like maybe not even 10% of its health, even that could be a problem if shields are down for that Registeel. So I think you're going to see Registeel a lot. Like you mentioned, the Pachirisu, it would love to see the Drifblim. I don't think it would love to see much else. Maybe the Registeel. That matchup's not terrible. The Frostlass is kind of interesting as well. It definitely has checks in that Registeel, and to a lesser extent the Alolan Ninetales, but also could potentially run wild. But very interesting lines here. I think this should be a very even matchup overall.
Yeah, definitely with you on that Registeel, because you're right. Holden's fighter is Toxicroak, notoriously flimsy fighter. Not going to be able to take Registeel out without devoting a shield or 2, depending on how things wind up. So, going to be interesting to see how that plays out, and how important this Ferrothorn is.
Toxicroak has very little play against the rest of the team, too. Like, even Meganium can Earthquake it, and it would not appreciate that very well. So, I think Holden is almost required to bring the Toxicroak, but it's in a position where he's gonna have to align it to the Registeel, or it's gonna be a rough time.
Yeah, I would be surprised if we don't see an Altaria 2-shielding versus a Registeel at some point, just because you're right, the need on it is so large for just something to handle that Iron Giant.
Absolutely.
Let's jump into the battles. I was muted, but we'll jump in now, and let's, maybe Holden will bring that Patricio in, but just have to wait and see.
Oh!
Right away.
Of course. And it is that full, I believe 1388 is its max. It's scoured into my brain. With that Best Buddy ribbon, probably like a 15, 14 something. And that Thunderbolt just doing so much. This has been, so, in addition to, obviously, I've gone in depth on my feelings, we just put out, Go Stadium did, and there's the Registeel. A graphic about, like...
in a not great matchup.
Yeah, definitely, because, okay, bringing the Toxicroak and basically saying, I can tank a Flash Cannon from full. How can I pressure this Registeel and keep alignment, I guess is the comment here, is I don't want the Ahmad to get, like, switch timer misaligned and be able to pull off some sneaky stuff that way.
Even attempting an undercharge there, which was likely not even as much to get energy on Toxicroak as it was to let Registeel take the Toxicroak down a little bit so it wouldn't get farmed. Unfortunately, it got farmed a lot by this Drifblim, which can threaten really either thing in the back line, considering Pachirisu is as low as it already is.
Definitely. Interesting that the Mud Bomb was gone for there, rather than the poison, the Sludge Bomb. If this is an Icy Wind, though, very good catch from Holden on that Frostlass.
This Frostlass is now going to try to sweep. I think if you're the Frostlass, you probably have to go for this farm down. I don't know if you can get it, but I think it's your only win con.
Yeah, and having to throw there might be a death knell for Holden in the back here.
Yeah, because you're going to get the shield here, but now the Drifblim's going to farm you down. The Pachirisu just threw its energy, and should be a very, very nice win here for Ahmad.
Definitely. Yeah, and Pachirisu is tanky. Not tanking an Icy Wind at that HP tanky, though.
And even throwing the Icy Wind for what I think was disrespect, because I'm pretty sure it had Shadow Ball energy. But very well played by Ahmad. Very nice win on game 1.
Definitely a very nice turnaround from that lead. And again, that Registeel looked very strong. For sure, for Ahmad.
Even being used as a safe switch, knowing that the Toxicroak's likely to come in, even then was very strong putting in the health.
Definitely.
I'll be curious. I really like the Registeel potentially as a closer here. I don't know if there's anything on Ahmad's team that can bait out a Toxicroak. I mean, I guess the Meganium, but you really don't want to safe swap Meganium when there's an Altaria. So it'll be interesting how he decides to use Registeel in this battle. We see a very even lead here.
Yeah, Ghost Mirror swaps to the Ninetales, and again the Pachirisu. Holden really after my own heart.
Even
and we're getting this
3 volt switch.
Yeah, this Arctic Squirrel versus Arctic Fox. And starting to go wild with these electric moves, these Thunder Punches. Because Volt Switch, just as everyone knows, very fast to charge as a fast move. Brushing off that Weather Ball.
Like it's absolutely nothing. Assuming this Thunderbolt would KO. So he gets the shield.
Yeah.
The free Volt Switch, or free Charm going through does mean he does not get to another move.
This
is kind of interesting. Is that he lost Switch, and that Toxicroak really does not want to be on the Drifblim.
Yeah, and here it might just be Ahmad getting alignment. Except catching the move.
I guess if you are McNuggets, your only chance is to put yourself in a position where Frostlass can sweep. Very difficult, but not impossible, because with this, the Frostlass is at a move, and it actually I don't know if it wins CMP. I'm pretty sure it does.
Yeah, definitely over Drifblim.
What it has to do now is obviously a Flash Cannon one-shots, so it's going to have to get to 2 Shadow Balls. I think with the Powder Snows already landed, this is a 2-hit KO on Shadow Balls, so it's just going to be a race at this point.
Yeah, and with Lock-On being the speedy move that it is, I'm just not sure in Frostlass's ability to get there.
Yeah,
but you're right, that will be...
Might even be a CMP tie, to be honest.
Oh, wow.
Does
the Reggie survive, though? No!
Oh, man. I think that was either a CMP tie or one Lock-On away. Very well played. Holden seeing the win con, knowing that his only chance was to sweep with the Frostlass, and done absolutely beautifully.
Yeah, catching that move on Toxicroak won him that game in the back, absolutely. With that Frostlass kind of cleaning it out.
Absolutely. If Holden does end up making it to Gods here, are we going to be seeing some very colorful comments in our Discord chat?
Oh, definitely. Well, it's been interesting. Just some other aspects where we've had Pachirisu in some comments. But, however, we see this Mudboy versus Ferrothorn, which is a very polarizing matchup. And then the Registeel catches this Power Whip. Without that Toxicroak.
Did go with an ABA Mudboy line again, just because he switched out late. I'll be very interested to see if he did again, because we did see Ferrothorn on the opponent's team the last time we saw Ahmad. But this Pachirisu really just doesn't care about any charge moves.
No, less than half from a Focus Blast. So this has been something I've been talking to people on Twitter, because Go Stadium put out a graphic yesterday. No, 3 days ago. I can't keep track. Where we did like things to focus on Excel for during Halloween, and Pachirisu is in the top tier, the strongest tier. And people are like, "What do you mean Pachirisu's strong?" And I'm like, "This is why. It is as bulky as Altaria, and it has one weakness, and that weakness is ground type, which, well, just as I spoke it into existence, a ground type appears, throwing Hydro Cannon.
Took that like it was nothing. Easily living with 1 HP. Now,
And then,
I mean, I think the play here, if I am Ahmad, I'm really anticipating a Quag in the back. I think you're trying to bring the Ferrothorn back in, hoping that Registeel can take it out, and then hoping Quag can win the zeros against whatever in the back.
absolutely. And yeah, this, I thought it was very cute from Holden trying to undercharge that Power Whip against a Swampert, which is just not something that you do. But no, it was a Ninetales, but again, something that you wouldn't want to see Ferrothorn with, for sure.
Absolutely. Also very logical the way it played out. At this point, Psyshock, I mean, honestly, Weather Ball KOs at this point.
Definitely.
And the Pachirisu's at the 1 HP, so... But it has a move!
However, I think this is one lock-on. I think this is actual 1 HP, and yeah, the Registeel just knocks it out. I'm not rooting for either team, but knocks it out.
Registeel not appreciating that Pachirisu could tank that Hydro Cannon, so making sure it finished the job. just so a certain goddess shoutcaster would be very happy at the end of the battle.
Absolutely. I mean, nothing but love for Holden. Quite a good, and that's the great thing about these matches is a bunch of really top tier players who we've played in other tournaments and have interacted with, and nothing but respect for Holden, and nothing but great lead for Holden here with the Toxicroak into Registeel, and that Ferrothorn is back with the Mirror Shot, double super effective Steel type on Alola Ninetales is gonna put this in a sour spot.
The real question now is it the Quagsire or the Swampert in the back? Because there's just I absolutely anticipate that this is baiting out the Ferrothorn, and it'll be very interesting, especially seeing that Pachirisu in the back. I think you could see a Mudboy sweep here.
Definitely could be, and that's basically what I've thought since game 1 is Holden's bringing Pachirisu every game, I believe, so far, and Toxicroak almost every game, just because of how necessary it is, versus that Registeel. Yeah. So I was gonna say a Mudboy could sweep, but granted how, ooh, okay.
Yeah, Hoff, you might want to look away here.
Yeah, I think this is a Pachirisu. I think the squirrel is about to sweep.
Oh no. Does catch the Thunder Punch on Registeel, which I guess is something, but this is just not looking very good right now if you are Ahmad.
No, my heart goes out to Ahmad here, and again, not that I'm rooting, but in that your Registeel is not a Galarian Stunfisk, it does not resist electric, and Drifloom is quite weak to electric, being, a hot air balloon. So,
oh man, even taking out the Ferrothorn here. I mean, I think this is not actually going to KO, and he's even going to undercharge. Just so Pachirisu can have a little bit more fun here. And
exactly what we need. So interesting. I think what Holden was trying there was to put it in farm down range for the squirrel, but actually undercharged the Mud Bomb a little too much. I don't think it matters because this Thunderbolt is gonna just clock that Drifloom.
Okay, it's not quite gonna get to a Shadow Ball there, and I think he's still at a shield. So, and tough times. I'm sorry you had to experience that, but it does seem like Pachirisu is a cute little tanky boy.
Oh, absolutely. Murder machine, and full disclosure, I am walking one that I have. I do not have the hundo, but I have a lucky that I got luckily way back. But nothing like Holden's exceptional specimen here. I'm sure again bringing it. But Frostlass versus Swampert, a very even matchup, and no Pachirisu this game.
Oh man. Clearly that Pachirisu sweep, he just felt like it had done enough. It had done enough work here for the entire set.
Earned a break.
Earned a break. This does not quite KO, but it's very rare to see a Swampert not shield, and it does. Now putting the onus on the Frostlass, which does decide the shield here. Frostlass does win the ones. Goes for the catch, does not get it. Toxicroak is going to really enjoy this matchup.
Definitely, both from a perspective of, cleanly beating Registeel without having, like, prior chip damage, and then also just Holden being able to align that Ferrothorn onto the Swampert in the back is going to be very good for him here.
Absolutely. The one potential concern is if there's something in the back that really does well against that Ferrothorn, because the Frostlass is very low. It has a move stored, but it really doesn't have a lot left. The issue is that it's a Drifblim, which it will have to shield, but might be able to shield. Oh, no, this Frostlass is too much energy.
Yeah, I believe that might be enough for Holden to get to both, but it's going to be tight. The other thing is, if it had not had the move, this Ferrothorn doesn't have Thunder, which really does impact it versus those flyers like Drifblim, but I believe Holden both here and on Frostlass just has too much energy at this point for it to matter.
Absolutely. It's going to probably just throw 3 mirror shots, or, I mean, if it can throw 2 then switch, it's going to do that. We'll probably see some attack buffs, because that's just kind of the way it works in these matchups sometimes.
Oh yeah, once you're down and out, the opponent gets the boosts, or they get the debuffs, whatever can demoralize you most.
Absolutely. I think this is going to be an icy win, which I don't think even KOs. And maybe at this point you just try to win with Ferrothorn. Just for the fun of it. No, he's gonna go for the win here.
And clearing out the Drifblim. Yeah, extremely well played to clinch this 3-2. Very close battles. Very close match.
Absolutely.
For both of these battlers.
No matter who wins these, we are really seeing why these... I mean, everyone here is showing me that they're God tier material. We've seen a lot of matches go to the 5th battle. We've only seen like 1 or 2 catches. A lot of catches have failed, which I think is something you see a lot from the best battlers in the world. They can anticipate when someone's trying to make a catch and have the patience to wait to throw that move.
Definitely agree on that. The discipline shown throughout these is really showing.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a 3-1, a 3-2, and a 3-2, so it definitely has been super tight. But that 3-2 has pushed Holden McNuggets into the God tier and is now just a race for the championship. Holden McNuggets going to take on Darkrai Shaman for the spot in the finals to take on Bore 14 More, the #1 seed. So let's hop over into the semi-finals, take a look at the teams here. We've seen both of these teams before. But we've got that the Pachyrisu's been sent over to the other side of the field up against Darkrai Shaman's team. So, I mean, Jmillz, against Darkright's team, does NHoff have to be worried here about a Pachirisu appearing?
I would say less so than the previous match, and it's primarily because of the Nidoqueen. We got a ground type to make sure that Pachirisu is just gonna die a very painful death. So... You might still see the Pachirisu, because I honestly see it having a lot of play against the rest of the line. You might even see scenarios. I'm like looking to see if there's anything on Holden's team that can bait out the Nidoqueen. I don't really see that much that could. But if you can get rid of the Nidoqueen, Pachirisu might end up having a lot of play.
Definitely. 2 things very weak to it in Drifblim and Dugong, and even stuff like Umbreon, which as like this neutral match destroyer. It actually comes down to charge move timing on both sides for the Pachirisu versus Umbreon matchup. So very much like stronger than you give it credit for, seeing it all that small stature on the field. And as we saw, just very strong. I'm pretty interested in both Umbreons on these teams. Really on Holden's side, not really fearing much from Darkrai Shaman, kind of having free reign in at least neutral matchups versus the field, or against the Drifblim or Crest, like very good. And then on Darkright's side, like it has a very good matchup in the Frostlass and only has to fear Toxicroak. So hopefully, you always hope that we don't get stuck in an Umbreon mirror, but could be interesting from either player. in this best of 5.
Yeah, the other thing I'm noticing is it's great that you brought up the Umbreon, because it's really the only thing preventing Holden McNuggets from a potential RPS scenario. If I look at everything else on Holden's team, there are like a decent amount of hard counters, and it's very much like there's not a lot of flexible neutrality in this. Like we see Toxicroak gets hardwalled by Cresselia. The Ninetales hardwalls Ferrothorn and has a pretty good wall to Ninetales. Like the Drifblim gets hardwalled by the Umbreon. There's even on both sides. I'm a little worried there could be a little bit of RPS in these matchups.
Yeah, you see Holden with 3 Pokemon with double weaknesses. And the Altaria sees an Ice type. The Ferrothorn sees a Fire type. The Toxicroak doesn't see a Confusion user, but that's not going to help it too much against that Cresselia. And it could get very interesting. Or again, Holden might just ride the fact that Umbreon's very strong against Darkright's team in general, and that Pachyrisu's fairly neutral if Holden can avoid that watermelon dinosaur from Darkrai Shaman's side. So, gonna be interesting to see how they play out.
Absolutely.
Do we see that Ninetales?
It comes out right away.
Well, trying to get me riled up.
Oh, he gets a free Volt Switch too. That is definitely rough. And if this wasn't in favor of Pachirisu, it definitely is now. And I don't see a Nidoqueen either on Darkrai Shaman's side.
Yeah, so just avoiding getting that Pachirisu on the Drifblim is going to be half the battle of this match, for sure. Interesting to see as well, because I believe this is the first time we've seen that Ninetales from Darkrai Shaman, and finally getting to see the moveset. It is Weather Ball Psyshock, which is a very fine moveset, definitely is something I've run in the past. I am a big proponent of Weather Ball Overheat, just because of how much you can surprise people. But seeing that Cresselia knock out the Frostlass in a twist of expectations.
Knocking out the Frostlass and getting a shield. Showing that Cresselia just really doesn't care about typing sometimes.
Yeah, it says your Ghost type is flimsy, my Psychic type is bulky. And now my Ghost type has an Ice move, your Altaria is an Altaria.
Absolutely. I think if you are the Pachirisu user right here, Holden McNuggets, you're seeing your only play right now is probably going to be to just sacrifice this Altaria. You probably hope for both shields, but I don't see a shield coming out here. And then hoping Pachirisu can sweep.
Definitely going to be something to see if he can manage. And then Drifblim opting not to shield here. And it's just going to be a bloodbath in the back with the fox versus the squirrel. A regular predator versus prey, but I'm not sure that in this situation it is that straightforward, because this squirrel is tanky.
Yeah. I honestly think a Weather Ball KOs, but the fact that we're even thinking about it is nuts, but it's going to just have 2 moves.
Volt Switch just generates too much energy for this to be a fair and balanced matchup. Pachirisu just coming out, punching with both hands. Both tiny, tiny hands against that Ninetales and closing it out for Holden.
And Pachirisu coming out here as if it's an Ultra League XL. It just does not care about your typings. It does not care about neutral matchups. It just outbulks everything and clearly wins that matchup.
Yeah, a bit of a payback for the Cresselia versus Frostlass for sure. Saying, "Oh, you can outbulk me? Well, I'll show you how to get a taste of your own medicine."
Absolutely. Umbreon
Okay.
Altaria, very neutral matchup.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Is this an old Altaria, or did Holden upgrade to the Moonblast variant to get something super effective against this blue Umbreon here?
Deciding not to find out and baits out the Umbreon here, which is very smart. Knowing sometimes you have to know what can beat your back line, and looking at the team here, he's got a Drifblim in the back, so he's recognizing that in a neutral matchup, you almost have to play this like an ABB team, like if you were playing GBL. You have to bait out the Umbreon.
Definitely, and just knowing, it wasn't brought in that first game, but knowing how good Holden McNuggets Umbreon is versus this 6 from Darkrai, you have to go in with that assumption. So properly pulling it out, even if it is at the cost of this this Cresselia here.
Wow,
interesting.
Saving the Grass Knot and then switching into Umbreon here.
That could be huge in the back for sure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because that Umbreon also has moves. So, if we get into a scenario with the CMP tie between the Crest and the Umbreon, then it's probably okay. But if that energy from the Umbreon goes onto the Drifblim, that could end up being a problem.
Yeah, that could be disastrous for sure. And we see this bulk fest between the Altaria and the Umbreon getting off that Moonblast.
Fuerza Lunar is coming in really powerful.
Yeah, really saying thank you for using the Community Day Altaria, knocking that Umbreon down.
Oh, I love this
and
play.
Then, like you were saying, that Umbreon had a move.
Yeah. The Crest is going to try to take out. If you are the Umbreon, you might shield and go for a farm down, but no. We have to let this cute little squirrel take care of business here.
Yeah, I was about to say the only win con I think for Darkrai was if the back Pokemon was Toxicroak, and that is not a poison type frog. That is an electric type squirrel. Punching with the power of thunder, bringing down Thor's hammer on that Drifblim.
The Pachirisu just proving that once you get rid of Galarian Stunfisk, it might be the best Pokemon in GBL. In Great League, going nuts and absolutely cleaning that up for Holden.
Absolutely, and he's holding 2 nuggets there with the lead over Darkrai Shaman.
So
we'll see.
The spare Pachirisu, please.
Yeah, does it? Well, Darkrai finally catching a break here, getting that Ice Water type against this Frostlass. Gonna be interesting to see how it plays. Definitely also save your Pachirisu. Any Canadians in chat, hit me up. Find me anywhere at NHoff, and slide into my DMs. I would like some.
Honestly, the way this is going, at jmillz113, the exact same thing.
Yeah.
This matchup proving to be not as bad as you might think, just because these icy winds add up. Frostlass is not tanky, but does have some energy for this. I mean, very interesting going for the farm down here. I guess if you are Darkrai, you're just hoping you have obviously a hard counter to Pachirisu and a tanky thing that can also be neutral against the Pachirisu as well.
Yeah, and Holden here swapping to the Altaria to me says that there isn't Pachirisu in the back, because giving up Switch, like admitting that whatever you have in the back could get locked in against that Nidoqueen, to me, I'm thinking Umbreon. Not trying to call it the match. For all I know, there could still be a Pachirisu. But no, it's a Ferrothorn, which is going to wall this Cresselia at least.
Absolutely. This is going to definitely become very interesting here. The Nidoqueen really can only deal resisted moves as well, and it's not like by the time it can come in and start debuffing, the Ferrothorn's going to be able to cancel those debuffs out as well. So there is potential here for a Ferrothorn to sweep.
Definitely, because that Earth Power is going to be so hard for Nidoqueen to get to, with Poison Jab versus a Bullet Seed user on the side of Ferrothorn. And obviously Poison type being resisted by that Grass Steel. This Watermelon might get cracked by a Power Whip. Coming through, not quite enough, but I believe will be enough there when that Frostlass comes in and finishes it off.
Very nice play, just to get rid of all of that energy on the Nidoqueen. This is still outside of Moonblast range. This should be a wrap.
Yeah, not to mention a shield exists. And Holden with a clean... Wait, was that? Yeah, Holden with a clean sweep there.
Oh.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the Ferrothorn in the back. With that 3-0 for Holden to go on and face Balmaw, making me see more of this Pachirisu than I would quite like, but at least ending it 3-0 in a quick fashion.
Yeah,
Office here just praying that Bob brought 6 ground types into the final.
That's true. We haven't seen Balmaw's team yet. A new reveal.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh.
Well,
there
I
is
see
one.
3. Yeah, I see 2 targets, a water type and a flying type, and I see a dragon at least, which will resist the electric, but doesn't have ground on that drag algae, but does have Whiscash, which Whiscash might be an emergency savior button, saying please come in, shield me from this tiny rodent. Looking at these 2 teams.
I mean, Whiscash was honestly looking okay against the full team. Obviously needs to avoid the Ferrothorn. But, like, the Altaria does not appreciate Blizzard. The Umbreon wins it, but it is fairly neutral overall.
The Slugfest, yeah.
Definitely a big Slugfest. And also a losing matchup on the Frostlass, but can do a lot of damage back. So you probably are going to see a lot of Whiscash here in this set.
Yeah, definitely. I enjoy the Whiscash Altaria matchup much more as a viewer than as a player. A lot of high-stress scenarios from either side that I've had, across multiple seasons of competitive play of Pokemon Go PvP. I'm really liking if I'm putting a little block over the Pachirisu, and I'm really liking how Mandibuzz looks versus Holden's team. With that kind of block in place, saying it's very good against Umbreon, it's very good against Ferrothorn, especially since we know, our perspective, that the Ferrothorn doesn't have Thunder. And then the Frostlass is very, even, can come down to energy. And then I remove the block from the Pachirisu and I say, oh no, please do not bring the Mandibuzz. Could be interesting if, you might do Mandibuzz and then Dragalge and Whiscash so that you have a cover when ultimately you lead it into the Squirrel. Could be very interesting.
Absolutely. You once again see a scenario where Registeel is going to have a lot of play again because basically similar from before, but the difference being now you have a fluffy Squirrel that can also hang outside of a 2-shielded Altaria. So probably a lot of play on the Registeel. I'll be curious if Bama uses it as a safe swap, I'm drawing a blank on who used it previously.
Like we saw it earlier.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So let's see how these start to go.
Let's see Pachirisu in the lead once again. Oh, no, something different.
No? Okay. Well, we see a good lead for Ba here. Oh, and of course...
safe swapping the Pachirisu.
And so far, no Whiscash in response.
Yeah, no Whiscash, no Dragalge, I guess. Unless he wants the chip and dip with the Dragalge, maybe, or something like an Alolan Ninetales.
Okay, there we do see it. But even these charms,
this is not.
Yeah, these charms looking like they're resisted on that bulk from that Pachirisu, finally getting it out, and gets to align this Ferrothorn again. But that Registeel is still there in the back for Ball.
This Registeel looking very good against the remaining Pokemon on Holden's side. So we'll have to see how it does. I mean, if he can somehow get a shield, Frostlass has some more play, but it's really not looking... It's looking very good for the Registeel right now.
Definitely. And, I mean, on Ball's side, knowing that really only a Toxicroak in the back is going to make this Registeel, worried, and now revealing that it doesn't, is going to be really hard for Holden to come out from. Regardless of what Ball might have. Sorry.
Very underrated play that I just saw from Ferrothorn there. The Ferrothorn threw a Power Whip to take out that Ninetales, even though it was low health. And that was... We talked at the beginning of the broadcast about not revealing your movesets. I think what Holden was thinking there is that, honestly, the Ferrothorn's going to not be doing anything else in this matchup, so I have no reason to reveal that I have Mearshot just yet.
Yeah, especially against Ball's team where he has that Mandibuzz that... Mandibuzz versus Ferrothorn can be a very long, drawn-out slugfest if the Ferrothorn has Thunder, or it can be more or less done and over with if the Ferrothorn does not have Thunder, because the Mandibuzz has nothing to fear against this. And we'll see... Yeah, we'll see what's in the back. I think a Whiscash is Holden's only saving grace, and even there would probably farm out. Yeah. And then we see Mandibuzz, so one for Balmaw. Really just doing very well with that Registeel. in that matchup.
Absolutely. I'll be curious how Holden decides to counter that Registeel here. I don't know if he... Like, there's a couple ways he could do it. He could bring the Altaria, figuring he could two-shield it. He could bring Toxicroak and Pachirisu, but then you have to be worried about something like a Whiscash. So, very curious how he decides to counter, because otherwise Registeel is going to have a lot of play in this set.
Yeah, definitely. And after seeing that Alolan Ninetales from Balmaw is on Charm, it looks very strong against this 6 from Holden. So we'll probably see a bunch of that. And now we see a very good lead for Holden here. We see a Dragalge.
This is definitely looking very good here, especially the Frostlass throwing the move first. Basically forcing the Dragalge's hand. It could be interesting here. The Dragalge could go for 2 Aqua Tails and maybe basically force the Frostlass to throw its second move.
Definitely seems to be the case, and this is an interesting situation because I know from experience that something like a Dragonair, you can 2-shield and win versus Frostlass, and it's looking like, well, he had the option there and chose not to.
Interesting here. Maybe coming in with a third? No, brings in Reggie.
Just gonna farm up energy.
A very aggressive farm down. I'd love to see it. This Shadow Ball is just gonna tickle. It's gonna put it down to not even half. And
just acknowledging that, Toxicroak isn't gonna love a Flash Cannon, so brings in the Pachirisu.
Probably tried to swap,
or tried to catch a Focus Blast on the. I think I saw him then immediately tap the Toxicroak to try to catch the Focus Blast. He tried again. Yeah.
Great plays on Balmaw's side. Throwing in the middle of the Volt Switches, it's almost impossible to catch on these 4 moves. I have plenty of experience trying to do it with Incinerate. It is quite the time.
Yeah, it's the blessing and the curse. You get one through, it's a lot of energy gained. You don't, and we just saw it.
Absolutely.
Getting to that Sludge Bomb as a Weather Ball comes through could be the death knell for that. For this game, really, for Holden. Depending on how this plays out in the back.
Yeah. How much energy? Oh, man. This is... Oh, it's a CMP!
Is this a Focus Blast, though? It is.
It is, and it takes it out. Would Thunder Punch have KO'd there, Huff?
I don't think so. I think Pachirisu is very bulky, which means it doesn't have a high attack stat, and Thunder Punch isn't that great of a move. It would have been very close, though, because obviously it does get stab. That Registeel was very low. I think it was correct in either direction. Like, if Holden was saying, I need this. And I also think, given lock-on, it's fine to not recognize that, Registeel was right at that move. Because it kind of went to town versus the Frostlass earlier. Okay, so here we see an Icy Showdown. This is heavily in the favor
of Ninetales.
Yeah, definitely. But we do see the 2 anti-Registeels in the back with Toxicroak and Pachirisu. So, depending on what Bob brought, could be very good for Holden here.
I like this play, trying to get the snipe. But the Dragalge comes out. I don't think this is going to KO, but it would hurt the Dragalge.
Definitely. That Mud Bomb allows Toxicroak to be kind of like an anti-poison type. And given Dragalge resisting Pachirisu in the back, this could be really good if Ball chooses to shield this again. Yeah. Could be huge.
So you're probably bringing in the Frostlass here.
That would be my guess. And yeah, it has an Avalanche loaded, so that's going to be it for this Dragalge. It's going to come down to...
saying, I'm going to use my tanky Squirrel and the Zeros against whatever you got. It's a Registeel. Oh, they both catch each other's moves.
And I think that's it. I think that Frostlass has a Shadow Ball, and I don't think Reggie has the gusto to take out both the Squirrel and the Frostlass. Although I've been wrong before, so we'll see.
It's gonna come down to whether it gets into Shadow Ball range, which that's gonna definitely do it.
Yeah.
Now the question is, honestly, if I'm the Registeel, Do you just pray that one lock-on takes out the Frostlass?
I'm not sure. I think what we see Balma doing here is trying to farm down with lock-ons, and as many people are wont to do, underestimating how tanky that swirl is. And
Wow.
just getting cleared out by that Thunderbolt.
So no sweep here for Obama. Holden getting on the board with the same Pokemon he's used to win almost every one of his other battles.
Exactly, and I'm saving this this broadcast after the fact, and I'm just going into that Twitter thread and replying to everyone who's like, "Is Pachirisu really that good?" And I'm like, "This is why I hate this Pokemon in Go." And I love it everywhere else. I think it's wonderful. It's my favorite, like, Pikachu clone, besides Togedemaru, which we don't have yet. Absolutely adorable little squirrel, and absolutely getting me very frustrated. And surely getting ball frustrated here until it gets Toxicroak, and the Whiscash finally comes out to
Perfect
really
scenario for the Whiscash. It's really the only matchup in this line of three that the Whiscash wants to be in. This Mud Bomb will barely, maybe after the Mud Shots. It's going to be very close by their KOs, but he's going to go for the shield. He's probably going to try to 2-shield switch. I don't think he can.
Yeah, I don't know that this is going to work out for Holden, and especially because of how Holden's back to R versus Registeel. This could just be game here on this swap alone. Very interesting play from Baw, kind of letting Toxicroak take it down to that last counter before throwing the final move.
Yeah,
and then the Whiscash coming up. Yeah, and now, I mean, Registeel just runs wild on these back two.
Yeah. Very tough. I mean, it's just a very tough team comp. I am a little surprised that Holden is bringing Frostlass and Ferrothorn, knowing that Balma has been bringing Registeel every battle. Definitely proving to be in Balma's favor here. That Flash Cannon, it takes out the Frostlass, and now it's just going to put a lot of work in here on the Ferrothorn.
Definitely, and especially without, we see, from our perspective, this Ferrothorn does not have Thunder, and I don't know that we're going to see the third Pokemon from Baw. That's how, like, decisive this is without the Ferrothorn having Thunder.
Absolutely.
So we do get a shield on a Mirror Shot, but gets to a final move, and that will clinch it for Bawmaw in this fourth battle of the best of 5. The battle that Holden does not bring Pachirisu.
Balma proving that getting that couple of buys, just like in like if you watch like American football, you see the teams that get the buys tend to end up being the champions. We see the same thing here. Balma just coming out victorious. Really, that Registeel put in a lot of work, and congratulations on winning the league finals.
Yeah,
definitely congrats.
Absolutely huge. And I mean, obviously it was defending the throne, already won the lobby as far as the leaderboard is concerned, picked up the most points throughout the entire season, and Holden McNuggets earned the opportunity to take them on to try and take that crown back, but ball 14 more. Respected the Pachirisu too much and knew what to do. Holden McNuggets, we'll never know what would have happened if Holden decided to bring Pachirisu that last game. It could have gone a completely different way, but either way, ball 14 more, defending the crown and landing themselves as the champion of the Vermilion Elite Trainer lobby, and all three of ball 14 more, Holden McNuggets and Darkrai Shaman, guaranteeing themselves a spot in the God tier lobby in this next Go Stadium season. And again, Ahmad, Verdugo, and Texas Rangers all have that opportunity to go through to the God tier through playoffs as well. But we'll leave that update for after this next set of lobbies, this next set of finals, with something that might hit close to home for the casters here today, because we are now going to be taking a look at the God tier league finals. Now, this finals does look a little bit different to the other ones because, this time, everyone is already in God tier. If you're reaching these league finals for the God tier in Go Stadium, you are not at risk of falling down into the elite tier, being demoted. So as opposed to having a number 1 seed that has been put into the finals here, we have it a little bit differently here. So you can see that we've got Breezy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and Dunebug both in the same round. They are seeded as number 1 and number 2. And then we've got the number 3, number 4, number 5 and number 6 seeds on the left-hand side. We've got Sage Grouse 26, who is the number 4 seed, up against... I had sent through a guide about how to pronunciate this name. Pisecivor?
That sounds correct, yes.
Yes, that sounds correct.
Yeah. Some only eats fish as the number 5 seed. I'm gonna roll with it. And then we've got Tangent 444, another Go Stadium Heartthrob at that number 3 seed, going up against Striker 9 in that number 6 seed. It is actually worth noting that the leaderboard actually had David Pro as the number 2 in the lobby, so just below Breezer, who actually was also the Pewter League champion in the previous season, if you watch those finals. However, they did opt to not continue into the next Ghost Stadium season and opted out of the finals as well. So while they haven't appeared here, still definitely an incredible performance, and has allowed Hot Striker the opportunity to come in as that number 6 seed as the 7th on leaderboard to try and land that God tier championship title as well. So let's jump into it. I think we're going to be starting off with that Sage Grouse versus Pisecivor matchup. So let's jump into the teams here, take a look at what we've got, and oh my gosh.
No, wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Where do we even start? I mean, we could start with Sage Grouse bringing the Shadow Gallade, but I think we've got to start with the Phalanx. That thing, it's honestly, I think it has decent bulk. It's got a decent move set with, I believe it learns Mega Horn. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
But a very, very nice fighting type that is gonna probably bring a lot of surprise to Sage Grouse. And definitely, I mean, honestly, I'm seeing a lot of potential counters on Sage Grouse's side, but you may still see it for the surprise factor.
Yeah, I was told this was a pick 6 bring 3, but I'm seeing 11 different characters on Pisecivor's side there with those 6 little war Kirby's in that last slot. But also, again, Shadow Gallade, a personal favorite of mine. I try to make it work basically every time Great League's in Go Battle League, and love it in these more limited formats as well. And that Greedent, both teams bring some Galarian flair into their lines of 6, and that recently freed Pidgeot as well. Double Flyer on both sides, really. Both teams having Double Flyer and Whiscash kind of playing these interesting potential ABBs, or just, trying to trick your opponent into playing around that ABB.
Absolutely.
I will say this is possibly the first time that I've said that I'm questioning bringing Nidoqueen. Extremely powerful Pokemon, probably one of the most powerful unrestricted Pokemon. But Sage Grouse has that Whiscash and that Shadow Gallade, which I'm sure is going to take 4 or 5 confusions to take out Nidoqueen there on the opposing side. Obviously, it does wall Galvantula, so it does have a niche. But there is a lot for it to overcome.
I am thinking that you may see the Nidoqueen because of that Galvantula. I'm seeing a lot of play for that Galvantula on Sage Grouse's side. The Altaria matchup's not great, and obviously the Nidoqueen matchup is absolutely awful. For those who don't know, my first love was actually Spooter before Chandelure. You actually will see it if you watch my streams. You do see Galvantula showing up on the overlay. But I really see Galvantula having a lot of play. It even can beat that Whiscash. So
that's true.
You may see a lot of Galvantula, maybe even a lot of Galvantulas in the lead.
Definitely. And I mean, I do see the Double Flyer, the Galvantula, and the Gallade from Sage Grouse, but I really do want to see that Phalanx, even if it's a kind of last minute try to get a gotcha moment to lock it on that Squirrel, that Greedent from Sage Grouse, but we'll see if it's too afraid of the birds and the bugs.
I wish there was a grass type on Sage Grouse's side, and we could just see a shields down Megahorn, but alas,
very satisfying.
Not meant to be here.
Okay. No, we'll see. What is it? Close combat instead.
It's either close combat. Is it close combat? Okay.
It's either that or superpower. I think it's superpower.
Yeah, I think it's superpower.
You may even have both. Who knows?
But anyway, let's. I'm interested in how these are gonna play out.
Show me the spice. Show me the spice. Ooh.
Oh well, we see the Greedent, and immediately into Talonflame, which so we saw from Pisecivor. We didn't see Whiscash double flyer, but we saw Nidoqueen double flyer, and immediately getting that Talonflame coming back in and expertly timing the Sky Attack at the end of an Incinerate. Super important play. I am
wondering if it's double flyer on Sage Grouse's side too, because the way the team's been lined up, I feel like he must be thinking unless it's a Skarmory in the back, Pidgeot has a lot of play.
Definitely, and that would be very bad for the Pidgeot to recognize that it is a Skarmory in the back for Pisecivor. Okay, getting that.
A lot of. Sorry, good.
I'm getting that Skarmory onto this Body Slammer is big for Pisecivor here.
I'm wondering if I still anticipate this being double flyer. I think Sage Grouse is just giving a lot of respect to the Phalanx, expecting it to come out and basically saying, you know what, I'm expecting you're not going to lead Phalanx, but you may have it in the back, so we're going to give you 2 counters to handle it.
Yeah, it's very interesting from Sage Grouse's side, basically recognizing that Talonflame can kind of operate as a safe swap, because Whiscash is not a water-type damage dealer. It's either Mud Bomb or Blizzard, which Blizzard will knock out a Talonflame, but it takes a while to get there. So, like, very interesting. And you're right, you called it perfectly, that Pidgeot is in the back. Ooh, shiny as well.
Oh, what a flex. You love to see it. Unfortunately, it's just going to be a little too low. This Nidoqueen's way too healthy. Unless for some reason Pisecivor decides to no-shield a Brave Bird, he doesn't even get to it.
Yeah, and that'll be it.
Done. Yeah, very well played.
Yeah, extremely dominant on the side of Pisecivor there. With that Nidoqueen, like, completely, calling me out for the initial remarks, saying, well, Sage Grouse isn't going to bring Whiscash or Gallade, so Nidoqueen looked extremely potent there, as did Altaria, as always, really.
Absolutely. It's interesting because the Nidoqueen Greedent matchup, I'm assuming, is fairly neutral. And it's probably something Nidoqueen can 2-shield down, but in earlier shield situation, match is pretty neutral. Sage Grouse decided to bait out an anti-flyer. It's very interesting that Sage Grouse decided to do that, and Pisecivor did not. Definitely
an interesting situation. Here we see the Altaria versus the Greedent, and switching to the ABA kind of configuration of this, with the Skarmory in the back still, and along with Nidoqueen.
I like this a lot because it looks ABA on paper, but if you look at Sage Grouse's line, there really isn't anything that beats both Altaria and Skarmory. So it looks like ABA because of double flyers, but it actually, I would imagine this plays as a fairly balanced team.
Definitely agree. Because yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like, a cheeky Pidgeot that like gets alignment right, or a Talonflame in the no shield or something like that. Really, nothing breaks these 2 restricted picks from Pisecivor's side in this matchup. But opting to take the shield and run with it, which is going to be interesting to see how it pays off here.
Especially interesting with the first game going basically RPS. Does this game go RPS as well? Talonflame comes in, but this is gonna really threaten the shield from the Talonflame. A Brave Bird would pretty much knock it out. He decides to no shield.
Yeah, very interesting play pattern here, because we don't know what's in the back from Sage Grouse, and if it is, if it happens to be a Whiscash or the Gallade, this could be very bad for the Nidoqueen here.
Goes for the snipe, but just misses it. This is likely going to be a Brave Bird. Gets shielded by the Nidoqueen, and it is a Gallade in the back.
The only question is, does this Poison Fang and poison damage just do too much because of this frail Shadow Boxer, and it does.
Wow. The Gallade going for the farm down just because he needed to get a move for the Skarmory. Very interesting because I think the Nidoqueen might have been able to go for the Earth Power, but
It didn't matter.
Throwing the Poison Fang, basically saying at the very worst case scenario, I'm gonna get damage, I'm gonna farm with Skarmory and then take out the Talonflame. So honestly, very well played by Pisecivor, by Pisecivor, pretty much putting him in a no-lose situation there in the end.
Definitely. Covering your bases is just something so important at this high level of play. Basically keeping the opportunities for your opponent to like get a sneaky win at minimum. And oof, this is a bad lead.
Man.
So we get the Altaria versus
neutral switch.
Yeah. A fight in the sky.
Ghost.
This is
one of many matchups that the Pidgeot can just Feather Dance 2-shield.
I would bet that that's a possibility, and it's really unfortunate because Pisecivor really needs to win this. But they go for the Brave Bird.
Anticipating that Pisecivor is going to anticipate that he's going to go Feather Dance. But he does get the Feather Dance shielded there as well.
I'm not so sure about not throwing the Sky Attack from the Altaria. I mean, this worked the way that Pisecivor needed to, in that Ferrothorn can get lined up on the Whiscash. The only question now is that Talonflame just going to break through the Nidoqueen and get to the Whiscash, and get to the Ferrothorn anyway? Because that's something like 3.
Oh man.
Yeah, never mind. I was gonna say that's like
that play.
That was really good.
Because now, like, here's the problem though. The problem is that Talonflame's really low, and Nidoqueen should be able to survive a once buffed Flame Charge.
Yeah, once buffed, or even if it does get to the Brave Bird, but I don't know that it will now if it's out of energy.
Well, it was at 100, so it basically comes down to whether it lives 3 Poison Fangs. It does.
Yeah.
Does a Brave Bird? It probably does after.
But the Altaria's in the back, and I think that the Dragon Breath will just knock it out. Yep. So the clean, extremely diligent of Pisecivor there, keeping that Altaria with like 3 HP, but saying Dragon Breath's a lot faster than Incinerate, and closing that out in the end. Extremely.
The Altaria, very, very smart.
And gets the honor of playing Breezy, the Victory Road champion from the previous, or top seed, I should say, from the previous season of play.
Yeah, and it looks like we also do not have an update graphic for the midway. It's only going column by column. So we'll just have to imagine that Pisecivor has jumped in there with that 3-0 sweep. And, we've got another chance to see Phalanx at a later time. So maybe Breezy's team is more forgiving in that regard. More normal, less flying. But we'll hop over into the next matchup, which is going to be Tangent 444 versus Hot Striker 9. Let's take a look. I mean, Tangent tends to like the spicier things in life, so we'll take a look and see if there's anything fun over there as well.
Show me Pachirisu.
I like the Shadow Ninetales. Yeah. Definitely. So this is a matchup that I'm very torn on. Tangent, obviously, another meta analyst with Go Stadium, another meta development person. I work with him very closely on Cliffhanger. We're the two main devs. Hot Striker, however, my old lobby mate from New Bark, I had to defeat him for the title of champion last season, for champion of New Bark, and a very good friend of mine, another member of Stadium staff with myself. So I'm not rooting for either side here. My heart goes out to both of them, and we're definitely going to see some very interesting battles from these two very well-comped teams, I have to say, extremely balanced teams.
Very much so. I love seeing this Shadow Swampert on Hot Striker's side, seeming to have a lot of play against Tangent's team outside of the Ferrothorn. We're seeing Ferrothorn proving to be a very common pick. And we're seeing a Registeel once again, but it's not going to have nearly as much play as what we've seen in the past. It does have some play. It's basically wins some, loses some, but definitely not the same as it was before. I'm also seeing the Altaria on Hot Striker's side. 2 shield can beat the Skarmory and really can hang with everything else on Tangent's side. So you're probably going to see a lot of Altaria in this set.
Yeah, I think the Altaria, along with that Shadow Swampert, are going to be pivotal in stopping that Shadow Nidoqueen, which you see a Meganium, you see a Frostlass, you see a Registeel. Very likely, in at least one slot out of Hot Striker's team each game, there's going to be a Ninetales meal. Something that Ninetales can effectively just go to town, say, I'm a fire type, you're weak to fire. I'll be interested. I'm almost positive that's going to have Overheat as well. Not revealing movesets because I don't know, and also these battles are already done. But that Overheat...
on the head. That's the problem.
Yeah. That Overheat, I'm sure, could even knock out Swampert, given that it's a Shadow, so could be very interesting.
Absolutely. Tangent, also be the only connection I have to both is Tangent and I are in a fantasy football Pokemon Go league. So got that going for him, but not rooting for anybody either. I think this is actually, both of these are very amazing, very skilled battlers, and this should be a great set.
All right, let's
Definitely.
go.
Scrafty into Altaria, a rough lead. And we see the Skarmory swap versus Swampert, so core pair against one another. I believe that at least non-Shadow this goes to Swampert, but interesting to see. I think it just outspeeds even here.
Yeah, the question will be whether... I was going to wonder whether the Air Slashes do enough. They just don't. But it did already get a shield, so I think if you are Tangent, you're probably... eating my words already. And so they're going to go try to get shields all the way down and then hope that what is that in the back? The Whiscash will sweep in the back.
Definitely a possibility if that, if the third for Hot Striker is that Registeel or Alolan Muck. There are some things very weak to Whiscash here, and with shields down, Altaria is not safe from it. That Blizzard will knock it right out of the sky, except it is a Meganium.
I think the issue here, I honestly, I don't know if Blizzard one-shots. I would imagine it's very close, but even then, it's just going to be too much damage. The Whiscash is not going to be able to get to another Blizzard before the Altaria gets to a Sky Attack. Barely lives
it gets another Mudshot in his farm. I don't know, Whiscash is tanky.
It is tanky.
I don't think it's going to be tanky enough.
But it's...
Yeah. That last shot, that...
quite enough.
Almost the, story of the century for Whiscash, but Hot Striker takes it. Takes game 1.
It tried to be the little catfish that could, making Battle Bill proud, but just not quite enough. I mean, if there was some way to do a strategic undercharge, that would have been the win of the century, but that was absolute. I mean, it was very well played by Tangent to make that close, but very nice win by Hot Striker.
Definitely. Let's see how Tangent might adapt in the second game. Fingers crossed from my perspective, hoping for that Shadow Ninetales. Personal bias in Pokemon, not necessarily in trainers. Just love that Firefox. Ooh, but a rough lead.
And
we see again the Skarmory come in.
Oh, Skarmory is a really good safe swap against anything not named Registeel. So I do like that play. It is interesting. Like I would generally expect if you're going to bring that in, you would be trying to bait a Registeel out, but there's nothing in the back, like maybe a Ferrothorn, for that. But the Swampert's staying in, which definitely means there's no Registeel in the back.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Hot Striker does not know the third Pokemon is Whiscash, but this Swampert looks very good against the back too, so I'm sure Tangent is very happy to see it, stay in versus Skarmory here.
Absolutely. Shields all the way down at this point, and you're probably going to see the Whiscash come in. It can tank one move, and then it's just going to be a matter of what's in the back.
Yeah, and this Whiscash with energy gets the Earthquake thrown at it. But it still gets to the Blizzard.
I don't know if I can watch. This is going to be so painful.
Oh, absolutely.
Boom! Oh, man.
But this Nidoqueen will not be able to tank an Avalanche from Frostlass, so all for naught, but we did get the Altaria just knocked out of the skies.
Yeah. Hot Striker running the anti-Nidoqueen team, likely the reason why he didn't swap out. We also saw two things in the back. I mean, the Frostlass can hang when it has the energy lead, but it's not as great when it's the one down on energy. So logical, and Hot Striker knowing the win con there, just basically knowing once the Skarmory is gone, it should be a pretty clean sweep.
Absolutely. And yeah, that Swampert just looked extremely potent. Also very interesting, Hot Striker going for the Earthquake, which reveals the Earthquake, but is the right move there, if you can't make it to 2 Hydro Cannons. And again, Tangent losing the lead pretty hard. Interesting to note that Tangent's Ferrothorn does have Thunder.
That absolutely could be helpful later on. Unfortunately, not a lot of fast move pressure. But if the Nidoqueen can do some damage and the Ferrothorn lands a Thunder later, then it could have a lot more play against the Altaria. We're seeing a bait here, which does not get shielded by the Swampert. Makes sense in that scenario, though.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So it's going to be an interesting situation for Tangent here, depending on what's in the back for Hot Striker. If that Alolan Muck maybe is a target for that Nidoqueen, and again the Earthquake comes out and gets shielded. Yeah. Tangent really respecting the damage that a Shadow Swampert can put out.
Yeah, wants to keep this Ferrothorn alive in case it can have play against the backline, and it's a Frostlass.
This is a bit of deja vu.
We'll play pretty much the exact same way, except they're going to shield one move first.
Mm-hmm.
And even if he no-shields this Earth Power, it
doesn't quite do enough.
Very clean win for the Frostlass, and then the Ferrothorn should be able to, or the Altaria should be able to take out this Ferrothorn.
Definitely. Even that Thunder not quite doing enough, given that Altaria is partial Dragon typing. Doesn't quite knock it out like it would a Skarmory or a Talonflame. So we'll see here.
This won't quite KO. I mean, I don't think he gets to 2 Thunders before the Altaria gets to a Sky Attack.
I'm questioning now, because Bullet Seed is very fast.
Oh
my!
Oh my goodness!
Well,
you monster.
Yeah, Believers Rise Up. I was completely calling Tangent out there, is out of the game, and Ferrothorn just too fast.
Tangent playing out, I'm going to make a football reference just because we're doing Fantasy Football League, but basically being down 100 points with Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, and Jonathan Taylor on Monday night, and pulls it off to keep this match alive.
I'm going to pretend I understood what that meant.
I'm sure Tangent would if he's watching. I think
sure.
He's gotten burned by it, so maybe a little extra funny.
I'll stick with movie references. Too fast, too Ferrothorn.
Very good.
That's a good one.
So Whiscash versus Altaria, my blood pressure is already up there. Just seeing these two up against each other. But really, again,
Strikers was too. He decided not to do that matchup.
Yeah, and again, we're getting into Hot Striker using the Swampert very freely as a safe swap, but not quite as safe as you want when that pointy weed is on the other side. We have to see.
This is going to be an Earthquake almost 100%, which is getting shielded. He's going to go for the farm down now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of energy, which will threaten the Altaria. We've already learned that the hard way.
Definitely. And it's just going to come down to what might be in the back, but it is a Meganium, which can tank this energy easily.
A minor mistake here, throwing the Thunder on the Meganium here. Definitely anticipating the Altaria coming out.
Yeah, and this is... I think Skarmory, Skarmory will lose to the Altaria, I presume, with Altaria having a shield, but the combination... Oh, but catching the move, catching the Power Whip.
That's just filthy. Decides to go back into the Whiscash. I love this play.
Yeah. Goes for the bait.
It's a risky bait. Will it work? It does!
Never punish.
Man. And that's
wow.
a wrap.
Exceptionally well played from Tangent there, because obviously we know what Skarmory versus Meganium will look like in the back. Making this extremely close by getting that bait properly.
Oh man.
And then I'm surprised Hot Striker is hasn't top lefted as they say, although showing a little bit more respect to Tangent here, playing it out, flipping those antenna, and getting it closed out to go to a game 5.
Yeah, Tangent learning from the early battles and utilizing that Whiscash to perfection in that battle. And, no Shadow Ninetales yet. So maybe we end up seeing it in game 5.
I would love that. I mean, we've seen, obviously, Shadow Swampert every game, I believe, so far. So, lots of mud that would scare that away, but Ferrothorn's been pretty consistent recently on getting on it, so maybe buys some space for Shadow Nidoqueen to come to play.
Yeah. Actually, sorry, I have to jump in here because this next battle that we're going to watch is not actually the final 5th battle. They had a lag situation, so we're going to be watching the lagged out battle. Which I'm not. Maybe there's they requested that this one is shown as well prior to the rematch. So
okay, no, that's important context for how the rematch will be played. So this actually is very interesting to see how it worked out.
Look so what's in the back.
I like that a lot.
Goes for the bait here. Very, very nice bait. I think even if it's no shield, you feel pretty good. And it gets a shield.
Definitely. And basically saying, my worst case scenario, I can get, I can let this Scrafty go down and get this Ferrothorn onto Swampert. Is a nice place to be.
At this range, even a Shadow Ninetales can take this out. But he shields here.
Very interesting, and I can see why. Scrafty being able to get to a foul play gives some pressure and is worth having. And I do see that double fire moveset, so I'm happy with that from a biased perspective.
Yeah, I like it too. I agree it's the right moveset 100% of the time.
But if there's an Altaria in the back for Hot Striker, this could be disastrous for Tangent, but
I feel like it's
could also... It's a Registeel.
Words. And here's the lag. Okay, so that's why they're going to rematch, because basically the question is whether he would have gotten to that Weather Ball, and if he gets the Weather Ball, this match is 100% over. But
definitely, because the Registeel does have a shield, but that shield would be taken, obviously. Instantly forfeited to a Weather Ball from a Shadow Ninetales. And then this Ferrothorn with a shield would make it to a game-closing Power Whip. Really, really interesting to see, that, and then how they're going to be played out. Steve, do you know if it's same teams or same leads that is gone with in this case, or do you not know yet? I believe you're muted.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure what the rematch rules are, so we're just going to have to wait and see whether we're going to see the exact same 3 rolling in, or if we're going to see that Ninetales potentially not finding its way onto that Frostus again.
It's actually very interesting, because we saw the end of the battle there. That Ferrothorn won the match, and he actually was able to win against that Registeel. So it's very, very curious that they still went with the rematch, knowing that in theory, that lag benefited Hot Striker, and Hot Striker still did not win the match.
It's possible that maybe Registeel lost some lock-ons, and maybe...
Yeah, that's immediately my thought, is maybe it's the other way, that the fire spins went through extra, and that chip damage was enough. So they do at least have same leads, and it's different backlines. So it is a same leads, different back, and we see Tangent with that Whiscash Skarmory core in the back, basically saying, "I'm comfortable in this lead. I want to see how I can play the back too."
Yeah, probably feeling very good about this, having the Skarmory land on the Altaria with the shield already down. This is definitely going to be a clean win for the Skarmory, and then, I mean, anything outside of Meganium in the back, I think this is likely going to be a wrap.
Definitely, although that Swampert does put in a lot of pressure and a lot of work, so could be a key player. Also, the Skarmory opting not to shield, basically saying, "I really like these shields with that Shadow Hydro Cannon looming behind the Altaria." I like this quite a bit from Tangent's side.
It's interesting. The tough part here is that it's
Countering down.
Very difficult for this Scrafty to counter down. Gonna have to use one shield. It's gonna be very close whether he has to use a second.
So there's the Meganium.
There's the Meganium. Okay, this is gonna be very interesting. This might come down to whether that Altaria is in Mud Bomb range.
Definitely is a possibility, because that Mud Bomb double resisted, but that Altaria is awfully low. And farming up some extra energy. Very well played from Tangent here. And then what does Hot Striker bring in?
Yeah, you might also see a Swampert sweep here too. That's not Mud Bomb range for the Swampert.
Definitely, and if a Mud Bomb gets caught on that Altaria as well, could be disastrous for Tangent.
And he
goes for the
Q. That's not Mud Bomb range though. That's definitely not range. So
the Earthquake plus Dragon Breaths is Oh my!
KO.
I think it might.
Oh my goodness! Oh. Wow, what a battle!
My goodness, Mudshot out the final Mudshot matchup with the Mud Boys. Extremely well played by Hot Striker there. An extremely good set from both these battlers, which, going into it was my hope. Love both of these guys, and showed just some exceptional play.
I know y'all can't see my face right now, but I am in complete and utter shock after the way that battle ended. Like, literally, I feel like at the end of that battle, there were like 4 different times where it looked like one of them had won. And it just kept going back and forth. I honestly did not think that was going to be Mud Bomb plus Mudshot range for the Altaria, but it was. That was incredible. Like, that's everyone watching. That's what the God tier is all about. You're really seeing the best battlers in the world. Both Hot Striker and Tangent absolutely have earned this stage. They are truly gods in every sense of the world, or every sense of the word. And no shame on Tangent's side. That was beautifully played.
Absolutely. So Hot Striker will move on and get to play at the #1 in basically every respect that has been available. Do One Bug 97.
Do One.
Very, very good friend of mine, and local to Boston. So that'll be a great battle coming up. But I believe first we're going to see Breezy versus Pisecivor.
Yeah, now
correct me if I'm wrong.
I have some very, very bad news in that Dunebug 97, unfortunately, I think this was hot off of finishing up World Champions, becoming the Silver Arena Season 3 World Champion, and unfortunately did not have the time to commit to the league final. So we're actually seeing Hot Striker take the bye through that round into the finals. So Hot Striker technically defeating Dunebug. But
wow, that makes
Striker, clear Dunebug counter, so obvious. Basically coming in, being the Whiscash and blizzarding the Meganium. But definitely unfortunate. I think Dunebug's resume speaks for itself at this point. And congrats to him for being champion as well. But definitely unfortunate we will not be able to see this battle.
You know what? I think Dunebug was just doing the right thing and letting someone else take a title for once. Dunebug's won enough. He's been number 1 in GBL enough. He's got the Silver World Championship title. It's time for someone else to take the crown of the Go Stadium God tier. But we will hop over into that Breezy versus Pisecivor matchup, and we'll take a look at what Breezy has decided to bring in as the number 1 seed. Let's jump in. And we've also got some interesting stuff there, but my initial thought is Phalanx might have a bit more play, maybe.
I just want to see a Mega Horn a Mew. That's all I want at this point.
A Mew, an Umbreon, or a Cresselia.
Absolutely. Plenty of opportunities to Mega Horn something. The Shadow Granbull is always a fun pick. Personally, I am a big proponent of Snarl Granbull, Shadow Granbull, but I don't think you're going to see that here. I think it's a lot more likely you'll see Charm, which honestly has some play. If you can lock it onto an Altaria, it can threaten anything on Piscevor's side that comes out, but other than that, it might be a little bit risky, but you may still see it come out if it's safe swapped with one of its bulkier options.
Definitely. I mean, you see 2 Steel types and a Poison, so lots of threats to that Granbull. Also, multiple threats then to that Cresselia, but Cresselia very bulky and able to make things work potentially even when it seems down and out. I really like this Escavalier pick. Not very frequently seen in Open, but a meta like this where the top brass are banned and you're working with some lesser seen picks. I like it a lot, especially if it locks in on the Ferrothorn. Against the Flyers, obviously, it's going to be a little scared. I don't know that we're going to see it a ton, but it cleans out that Ferrothorn easy, and it does very well, in my experience, versus Nidoqueen as well. But the big question for Breezy's team, I know you already mentioned Snarl Granbull, but the big question for me is, one, is the Mew blue? Is it a shiny? And what is the moveset? Because obviously, all over the place, we don't know what Mew's running. If it's, the most common probably in Open formats of Surf and Wild Charge, if it's something with Flame Charge, if it's something with Psyshock, which is my preferred move on Mew, could be all over the place in this matchup.
Absolutely. There's so many ways you can go with that Mew. There's Overheat, there's Ice Beam, there's Focus Blast, there's Dragon Claw. There's so many good moves in Mew's move pool, and it's also again, this goes back to the earlier note about revealing your move set. You may see scenarios where the Mew throws a move you wouldn't normally think it would throw because it doesn't want to reveal the second move.
Absolutely. So, yeah, can't wait to see how this all plays out. As you mentioned earlier, a Granbull locking on something could be huge in terms of pressuring shields, and I mean, can't wait to see how it all happens.
All right, let's jump into the essentially somewhat semi-finals-ish. One of the 2 semi-finals, because this one's structured a little bit differently. So yeah, let's jump in and straight into the action, and it's blue.
It is blue.
It's blue on both sides, and does it have Surf is the new question now. Or Psyshock. Psyshock would also
absolutely
really put some hurt on.
Gonna find out here. It's staying in, which does mean it probably has something. It does have Surf.
Well, it's blue. That's the giveaway. It's a water type.
That Stab Surf coming in. Still not doing a whole lot.
No, and here's do you preserve it or do you let it go down to this Poison Fang? With that Skarm Whiscatch in the back, could be very important that Pisecivor got that switch advantage, because Skarmory is gonna really like this Cresselia, for sure, no matter the moveset.
If I'm Breezy, I'm thinking this is valuable energy on anything other than Skarmory, so probably feeling really rough to see that Skarmory come out. This is a neutral matchup, but Umbreon does have shields. So we'll probably see Umbreon win this matchup, but you're still going to have the Skarmory in the back.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard-pressed for Breezy to win this. Very nicely comped team with those 2 tank monsters in the back. It's just that, there's one Pokemon that, or 2 I should say, that Cresselia doesn't want to see, because that Firethorn also very good against it. And Pisecivor happened to bring the Skarmory and really punish it. But we'll see how it plays out. I mean, with shield advantage, if it's a 2 versus 0, the Moonblast might just come out fast enough that it doesn't matter.
The no shields are going to help a lot too. Like you said, it's a 2-shield scenario. This Umbreon is still loaded with energy. And Cresselia, we've mentioned before, it doesn't always care about typings. And obviously, this is not a great matchup, but these Moonblasts are going to chunk over time because this Sky Attack is not going to KO.
Yeah, and especially if the Moonblasts get that attack debuff, it could make an even larger deal. And there as soon as I spoke it into existence, comes out the attack fell.
Very interesting no shield on the Cress's side, because we're getting dangerously close to the point where the Skarmory could just go for a farm down on both Pokemon.
Yeah, I think the thing is, I think Umbreon does have a move, though. I'm not positive, though.
Besides,
and if not, yeah, it's a question of whether Umbreon is close enough to a move.
Oh, it's got so much health. It has more health than I anticipated. It's going to easily get to the foul play here.
Yeah, especially with that Snarl coming through. And we go down to the clock.
And man, Ultra League, where are you?
Well, I mean, I'm seeing Cresselia, Umbreon, Registeel from Breezy's side, Escavalier, which you see a good amount in Ultra. It's a reverse of when you get all the XLs in Ultra League and it looks like Great League. It's the other way around. And Breezy just abusing that bulk, getting that game 1 win, says, I don't care about type advantage with Cresselia. I'm going to get the Moonblast debuff. I'm going to spam you out. And really well played.
Breezy really showing there why he was #1 in the gods here. I think, I just battled him in a Lunar Cup and I got absolutely wrecked. Like, he's the real deal. I honestly, I think he deserves more credit than he gets. There's a reason why he was #1 seed in this God tier.
Absolutely agree. Extremely good battler. Extremely unfortunate situation that he's in right now. Again, getting that Cresselia versus Skarmory, which at even shields is less passable, I would say, of a matchup.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We'll see how it all fares for the Mew. Basically saying I'm on Surf and something else that I don't want to see Altaria. Because even Wild Charge, I would usually stay in there, toss, and then dip. And he didn't do that here.
Right. I guess now we gotta start like brainstorming what that Mew has as its other move. Because if it's something that, well, they do bring the Mew out here, which makes me think maybe it is the Wild Charge and they just wanted to get an energy advantage.
That's definitely a possibility. My money at the moment is on Flame Charge, but Wild Charge also definitely in the play. And yeah, Charge is up to 2. Says, NHoff, you're wrong. And gets the shield on the Surf, which is nice.
I think throwing the Surf just to make sure he got a move off before the Altaria got to the Sky Attack. But now it puts him in a spot with the shield that I don't think he shields the Altaria. Now
interesting.
One shielded Nidoqueen against an Umbreon.
Yeah, and this is really interesting how it's all gonna wind up going back and forth in the back because there is that Cresselia, I believe, still has a little bit of HP. Or it might be fully out. No, all 3 Pokeballs on the right side.
Yeah, it's still alive. I think it has enough health to tank at least a couple of poison jabs, but obviously like not a charge moves.
Yeah, and this Umbreon, unfortunately for Breezy, does not have Psychic from its most recent Community Day, which would really put the hurt on Nidoqueen, but is not often used for multiple reasons.
Absolutely. This is an interesting swap here. If I'm Breezy, I'm actually probably feeling okay about that swap. Because otherwise, the Skarmory had the potential to sweep as long as the Mew didn't get an energy advantage. But now the Cresselia, I think, can just farm this down and maybe throw a move. The question is whether the Umbreon is going to be able to survive and get a move off of its own.
Yeah, this could get really...
There's still a shield in play, too, though.
No, it's just...
shield.
too much fast move pressure from Pisecivor's side. Really well played. Again, getting that Skarmory on that Cresselia, turning out a little bit better this time for the side of the Skarmory.
Absolutely. I do like the idea of the Cresselia as the safe switch, just because even against the Skarmory, it can get it low even if it does not win. But having a line in the Skarmory, again, another scenario where it's not baiting out a Skarmory for something like an Escavalier. But I'll be very... basically, we've seen a couple different ideas these first two battles. I wonder if we'll see something changed up in Game 3 here.
I would love if there's a change-up and it includes Phalanx, but we'll see. We do see the Registeel, so there's something different. Oh! Oh my goodness! Well, it really would like to be in versus this Registeel, I can say that much.
Sure.
But I was about to say, we saw Umbreon the first couple games. Can we see a Phalanx in response? And, maybe Pisecivor heard me and, wanted to make my day here.
Absolutely. I like this team comp too, basically saying Phalanx can do work against everything that's not named Shadow Granbull. So he has two very hard answers to that Granbull on this team. I think that's a very logical team comp. We are once again going to see that Cresselia aligned to the Skarmory.
Yeah, one thing is true about this set so far, and it is consistency in these two birds, this Metal Bird and this Space Bird, floating through the sky, throwing Moonblasts, and getting aligned with Death from Above from Skarmory. So I think, given that it's been Poison Fanged, it is probably in a spot where Skarmory can be Farmery and take it out.
Oh, it goes for the switch out here. The one difference we've seen, because we've seen this matchup 3 times, the Crest Skarmory, but they've gone 3 different ways. We saw once where the Cresselia was actually able to pull it off. We saw one where the Cresselia safe swapped and then switched out again. And this time we finally saw what you would expect the Skarmory to do and very cleanly win that matchup.
I'm seeing a very good situation for our 6 little balls of rage. An Umbreon is a feast for any fighting type, and I don't expect this to be any different. Waiting out the clock a bit, sending them in. My favorite attack animation in the game.
It's double fighting.
It is. It has the bait, the brick break bait. Gets the shield, and they just one fell swoop. The 6 of them shoot forward. Yeah, Steve acknowledging there.
No shielding the foul play. Yeah, I think you just safely shield this, and should be in a great spot here.
They're excellent at keeping time. Little metronomes over there, and really just saying, "Hey, we're here from Galar. We heard there's an Umbreon you need taken care of. We're 6 guys. We can move this mess out of your way."
I think the Phalanx, its little back and forth, might have been in turn with like a Dragon Breath fast move. I want to see it again to confirm, but I like the synchronicity.
A new way to charge your charge attacks, or to time your charge attacks. Well, the Phalanx have rocked back and forth 8 times, so the Azumarill might be at a play rough now.
Absolutely. And also, seeing the Brick Break from the Phalanx, I wonder if Breezy anticipates that it's a triple fighting moveset. Because I find it very unlikely if you see Brick Break on the Phalanx that it's going to be only counter Brick Break. Like, Brick Break's such a terrible move, so you probably would want a better move in response, but we'll see how they react to it here.
That's a good point. We see the same lead as last time, but we see 2 flyers, and Altaria really doesn't have much to fear against Escavalier. Unintentional rhyme there. But yeah, Megahorn only doing about a third there.
Yeah, interestingly, bringing the Altaria in here instead of the Escav, it's probably because the counters are neutral to the Skarmory. So that would make sense. And now you'll be able to do a little bit of chip here, get a Sky Attack off. I'm sure the Registeel will overfarm. The Flash Cannon, this should barely be in Flash Cannon range. If not, it's actually better for the Registeel and can farm. And then we'll have to see what's in the back for Breezy.
Yeah, I think the reason the Altaria came in is Pisecivor is saving that Skarmory, hoping for another Cresselia in the back, like in the past. Or if we see a sneaky Granbull, much better situation for the Skarmory than for an Altaria. But That's all yet to be determined, and yet
The
to
Registeel's staying in. Maybe it is a sneaky Gramble.
Definitely could. No, it's a Mew, which now you really wish that you were the Altaria instead of the Skarmory, because Wild Charge hurts quite a bit.
Oh, and he throws
and goes
the Wild
straight
Charge.
for it.
Man.
This is going to be
definitely
interesting.
shielding this. I think he's gotta go for the farm down, and he gets it. One Surf, I don't think KOs, but I think this plus being able to potentially, I don't know though. Shields are down for the Mew.
Shields are down, but the Poison Fang has been thrown, so Registeel will outpace. Yeah.
That CMP tie is going to win the game for Breezy.
You're 100% correct. Not having that energy to threaten the Earth Power means Breezy can just bring in that Registeel, get to the Flash Cannon, and close it out.
Amazing battle there. The CMP tie doing all the work, and very well done. That's another thing that you see some of the best battles in the world do, is know when to try to throw us to a CMP tie if you have the higher attack Pokemon. Force the CMP tie, not allowing them to farm, and winning the matchup. And we see the Phalanx in the lead in a deciding Game 5.
In deciding Game 5, where you really want that Mega Horn, if you wanted for any reason to stay in that matchup, but swapping out anyway, seeing what Nidoqueen can do versus this Registeel, and turns out not as much as you might hope from an Earth Power.
Yeah, at the end of the day, this is basically just a 2-hit KO on both sides, and but the difference is what you're seeing here with Nidoqueen is Nidoqueen can bait, but they call it.
Yeah, really, really well disciplined from Breezy's side.
I think if you are Pisecivor, you are going to go straight Fang at this point. If you are Pisecivor, you're probably anticipating you can get both shields back if they shield, but they decide not to shield and are just going to take a one shield advantage going into the next matchup.
Which, that all being said, is really nice to have the ability to line up Ferrothorn versus this Mew, because we've already seen that it's Surf and Wild Charge. Not going to do anything unresisted against a Grass type, and also being very good against this Cresselia.
Wow. Basically, they're just going to have to hope. If you're Breezy, you're hoping a 2-shielded Cresselia can handle this matchup well enough, which, honestly, with Cresselia not caring about typings, it might be able to do that.
Yeah, this is essentially Pisecivor saying, I'm putting everything on Ferrothorn's back. These six little balls in the back are effectively useless against two very bulky. Well, I guess Mew's not exceptionally bulky, but two psychic types without anything other than fighting type damage. So
also amazing call on Piscevor's side to bring the Ferrothorn for Game 5. Seeing that the Mew and Cresselia have come out a lot of these matchups, and now we know Mew moveset, like you said. Very nice call to bring out the Ferrothorn, but now catching something on Mew, or on the Phalanx.
Yeah, Phalanx basically being used as another shield, and just on the merit of, its glass cannonness, and Mew's as well is able to put some pressure on here. I'm curious if it will get to a Brick Break, so...
It does. I don't think this KOs, and the Mew just got a Shadow Claw through. I think this is over.
Well, Ferrothorn has energy, so this is going to come down to if Cresselia has energy and how much. Oh my!
He was out of energy.
Goodness!
Oh my goodness! A match befitting of crowning a champion. The Phalanx coming in clutch. Those 6 little buddies just brick breaking away and allowing the Ferrothorn to win, and Pisecivor, your god tier champion.
No, we still have versus Hot Striker.
Oh my god, I'm good.
You're getting ahead of yourself. Yet to be seen if
the The Phalanx got me so excited, I just assumed it was all over.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see how well Hot Striker can handle those 6 little dudes to fight for champion status. Hot Striker, I know a fire is burning in him, upset that I stole it for Newbark and saying I'm gonna get God tier, but we'll see if Pisecivor is going to claim what you've pronounced early. Again, neither jmillz or myself has seen these battles.
We have never seen the battles, so hopefully, well, I'm not hoping for anything, but like, yeah, we don't know for sure yet who the champion is. I honestly thought that was for the championship right there, so my apologies.
And look,
I mean it's fair with Breezy.
No matter who wins this last matchup, I think that we all know that there are 6 champions that have already been crowned. Phalanx is awesome. We heart Phalanx. But yeah, let's jump into those last teams. Obviously, we haven't seen Hot Striker's team in a little bit, but we are back. And okay, so this it looks like I might have to fix NHoff's camera a little bit. It's still a square from when it was Rise to Occasion. But
right.
The only question that I want answered here: does Phalanx have play? Are we going to see Phalanx in the God tier Ghost Stadium League finals?
I think it's quite a bit more dodgy here than in the last set. It does have that Registeel, and it should do reasonably well against the Alolan Muck. It is just, there is a Ghost type, and there is an Altaria, and both of those, even though Hot Striker does not know that Phalanx doesn't have Megahorn, neither of those cares about Megahorn or Superpower. They both resist evenly. That being said, a Meganium might respect a Megahorn or something to that effect. I'm getting a bit of deja vu from the matchup versus Tangent, where it was Shadow Swampert, and then, hey, can we get Ferrothorn on the Shadow Swampert? Which
the main difference I'm seeing here is at least there's an Altaria that can also handle that Swampert.
That's definitely true.
I actually do see some play for the Phalanx here, because outside of the Altaria and the Frostlass, Phalanx is neutral against everything else, and we haven't really seen it tank one of those Community Day moves yet. I'm going to be very curious how well it tanks a Hydro Cannon from Swampert, because if it does, I could see it having a lot of play against that. It's definitely would do well against the Alolan Muck and the Registeel. And Meganium is probably a matchup that Meganium wins, but if you land the fighting nuke from that Phalanx, I would imagine Meganium doesn't appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I do think from Pisecivor, this Nidoqueen is in a bit of trouble, so I'm not sure that we're going to see that given the Frostlass, which we've talked about already. Although it would shut down that Alolan Muck, I just don't know that Hot Striker is going to bring it with that Nidoqueen. Again, we've mentioned Phalanx, Whiscash, and Skarmory, so I think it might be interesting for Phalanx, because I think Hot Striker is going to be relying on that Reggie that we've seen a lot in this throughout these matchups today. Registeel kind of in this meta where a lot of the top Steel types are not allowed or restricted. Registeel comes back and it says, "Is it safe? Are all the G-Fisks gone? Can I play again?" And could be really interesting.
Oh man, I see Phalanx Double Flyer being a play for Pisecivor. Like, basically, since there is no Charmer, you could safe switch the Altaria. Really, you could safe switch either Altaria or Skarmory if you really anticipate that the Frostlass is not going to come out. I don't know. Maybe I'm just hopeful, but I think that would just be a lot of fun.
Hey, that's a safe way to be hopeful for Phalanx.
All right, let's go in. Please, Phalanx, you don't have to show up every battle. Just show up at least once. All right, let's go.
All right. Oh,
there it is.
Right. A terrible matchup, but it showed up.
Just show me the Altaria in the back. I mean,
yeah,
it would be a hard loss for Pisecivor, but
you would have called it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that Phalanx, unfortunately, looking very soft against Altaria and Frostlass in the back, but Depending on how Hot Striker can manage things, might not matter, or not Hot Striker, Pisecivor, might not matter, might just be able to just be super powered. Yet to be seen, though.
Absolutely. We are once again seeing this Skarmory get shields down, so depending on what's in the back, maybe we end up seeing a sweep, but if it is an Altaria, then it's going to be a rough time.
Yeah, so you got what you asked for as well, is that Phalanx did tank that Hydro Cannon reasonably well, given that it's a Shadow Swamperts. Now, this is an interesting situation, because Blizzard will, famously, knock Altaria straight to the floor, and Pisecivor might be able to just bank on that.
Yeah, the only problem here is that 2 Mud Bombs does not take out the Frostlass, so you're going to see an Avalanche get landed, maybe even go for the Shadow Ball, but no, they're going to go for the Avalanche. And it's going to come down to whether this Frostlass gets farmed down by the Whiscash and can land the Blizzard.
Ooh.
And it does.
Be very close. I don't know if he gets to it. He did!
So...
Oh my goodness.
That was brutal. Phalanx 100% win rate in the finals so far.
It's going nuts.
That came down to throwing Avalanche instead of Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball would have done a smidge more damage.
Absolutely. I guess anticipating was worried about the Mud Bomb going through and not landing the Avalanche, but Shadow Ball did end up being the right play the way it played out, and just a crazy gives me flashbacks of being able to flame charge a Ferrothorn. Just absolutely nuts being able to one-shot an Altaria.
Yeah, 100%. And gonna be interesting to see how they adapt. We get Swampert Skarmory again. And we saw this last time. So this is basically how Hot Striker's team wound up aligning. Obviously different than how it started out, but Skarmory was swapped in, Swampert was swapped in the last game. Let's see if it plays out better for Hot Striker, or if Pisecivor is gonna, get advantage here.
Like that play, once again, just being able to force the Skarmory's hand and getting that shield first, it puts you in control of the matchup. So really like that call there by Hot Striker. And now they force the second shield or switch.
And this is really interesting because, again, Whiscash could clear out those back two, but I'm really liking, Frostlass here. So gets the Earthquake onto the Ferrothorn. This is going to smart.
We're going to find out the move on Ferrothorn here, though. If it's, we're going to find, Hot Striker's going to find out. We know it's Mirror Shot.
Yeah.
It's honestly, I found that to be kind of risky on Hot Striker's side, not knowing whether it had Flash Cannon, because Flash Cannon would have done a lot to the Frostlass.
I don't know that it was that energy, but you're absolutely right. If it had been, that would be disastrous.
I think it would have gotten to it like right around the same time Frostlass got to an Avalanche. It would have been very close.
Yeah, and that again we're seeing.
Oh no!
Possibly, remix.
All right, you have to let yourself get farmed down here because you need to have a sack. That's your only win con at this point. And
oh my goodness! Holy cow!
Done.
Hot Striker, amazing. Oh, I need some air.
Oh, I'm gonna need a couple shots after these battles. Like, these are crazily played. Like,
yeah. Oh. I feel bad for Pisecivor, and I'm also just so much in awe. Bringing the heat with that catch.
That's a god tier catch. I don't even know what else to say. That was incredible. His only chance of winning the game was catching that Blizzard on the 1 HP Swampert, and he pulls it off. Expertly played.
Bringing it to 1-1, we are now at a best of 3 to close it out.
Phalanx did win when it was on the field, so maybe we end up seeing it again.
That was what went wrong last game. The only reason that Hot Striker could catch it was because no Phalanx. And we see a bad lead for Hot Striker here. Especially because Earthquake rather than then Sludge Bomb on the second, and Hot Striker can't swap out of this because Meganium's in the back.
Oh my goodness. Earthquake also has been revealed earlier in this set. I like that catch. Just because when you're in this ABA lose lead and lose someone in the back scenario, you usually do have to end up making a catch at some point, or praying that basically your ABA backline can handle whatever they have in the back. Deciding in this case to bring out the Registeel, which is going to do some damage to his Whiscash before being taken out.
Yeah, long time since I've played this matchup out, but the Focus Blast does hurt a good bit, and this is a very interesting perspective from Hot Striker because you can Meganium out, but that Altaria is coming back.
Absolutely. Now if you're
I believe that's as close to good game as it gets. And it's a Skarmory.
That's as close to good game as it gets. Oh my goodness.
My heart goes out to Hot Striker in this exact scenario because who hasn't been there before with their Meganium?
This has reached the point of just being a straight up flex. Also catching the Hydro Cannon on the Altaria. This is just disrespectful in the best possible way.
Yeah, Pisecivor very clearly saw what Hot Striker did in the previous matchup and said, "You can catch moves, I can too. I'm gonna show you." When I've already won the game, just some payback for that previous catch from Blizzard.
Absolutely incredible. Well, not only winning, but we have 2 more battles left, and he really just stomped on Hot Striker's heart that game. And sometimes having that mental edge, it can make a difference.
Yeah, we'll see whether it puts Hot Striker more on tilt, or if it lights a hot fire in his heart to say, "I'm not gonna go out like that. I'm gonna come back for the 3-2." Let's see, how he adapts.
And maybe both of them get to use the 2 shields they didn't use in this game.
Simultaneous for Umberto. Oh, there it is.
Back.
Oh, what a bad matchup for the Phalanx, though. Probably gonna throw. I don't know if we saw if it was superpower or close combat. But
I believe it's superpower.
Okay.
And
Tanks it like it's nothing, and they save the energy.
Yeah, and this is an interesting perspective for the Skarmory because I'm looking at the back 2 for Hot Striker, and really, if he can avoid getting into the situation again of Whiscash versus Frostlass and Altaria, which feels like a broken record at this point, then it seems like he's pretty good here because Phalanx can't do much. But that's a tall ask given how the first few matches have gone in this set, with Whiscash being a regular.
Absolutely.
I don't think I would shield here. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thinking you're likely going to see a Whiscash or an Altaria in the back, because I think those are just the only 2 Pokemon I could see. Maybe Nidoqueen too, that would not have switched out seeing that Frostlass lead.
Yeah, and Frostlass is going to be good against whatever it is. Especially with that Skarmory gone.
Energy and shield advantage.
And there it is. Whiscash a lot less scary when you have a shield in your back pocket as that Altaria player.
Absolutely. And the Phalanx having nowhere to go here.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? You're going to see him catch the Blizzard. It's going to happen. It's exactly.
I mean, even... Oh! I was going to say, I would just swap the Frostlass anyway, but gets it with the flex. Lets the Phalanx throw whatever it has.
Let's Phalanx... Right. Oh, I was going to say let's Phalanx get a kill. There it goes. And we are going to go to a Game 5.
Which...
Okay, we didn't have it, but it's here now. So we have the very final battle. Whoever wins this single battle does become the God tier champion for Ghost Stadium. So basically the peak of the peak of the peak, really killing it here. And at a 2-2 as well. Like, you could just not get tighter. The only question remains, is Phalanx going to come in to secure the victory or not? I know Pisecivor was preemptively crowned the champion earlier on, so let's just wait and find out how it does go. But going to this, I mean, just take a prediction. NHoff, what is Pisecivor leading in this final battle?
I would say Skarmory, because we've seen that Skarmory Swampert a lot. I think that's like Picevor's like safe play, because Phalanx has too often been met with Altaria or with Frostlass, and I'd love to see Phalanx in the line of 3, but I think Skarmory is going to be the lead.
All right, we've got Skarmory. Jmillz, what is Hot Striker putting up against that Skarmory in the lead?
I'm anticipating the Shadow Swampert. I think it's done very well on the team, like basically every game. I think it would make the most sense the way this battle has gone. I would love to see some new picks, like seeing the Ferrothorn on Piscevor's side or the Alolan Muck on Hot Striker's side, but honestly, the way the team comps have shown, I just don't see it happening.
Very fair enough. So let's jump into it. Take a look at this. What is supposed to be a Skarmory versus Shadow Swampert. And, oh!
Totally got it right. Pog, you beautiful.
Yeah. As intended, I totally, guessed a flyer at least. But this mirror match with these puffballs. Okay, so this is gonna come down to IVs potentially, unless we get a swap. And it looks like Pisecivor has better IVs but loses CMP, which is important here. Lets it go down.
Proving that IVs don't matter, except they actually matter the other way around. But the Skarmory going to be getting a lot of farm, and that could be very dangerous to this backline.
You're 100% right, because having that energy advantage is huge for this matchup here. Sky Attack doing a lot to this, flimsy amphibian on Hot Striker's side, starting to throw those Hydro Cannons. And does not get to the second.
They got an Air Slash for free, and that might flip this entire matchup unless there is another Frostlass or something else Frostlass can handle in the back.
Yeah, I'm guessing that the best chances for Hot Striker here are Nidoqueen or that Phalanx, but Skarm gets to another move.
Some weird it's a Brave Bird. That was very interesting at the end, because we kind of saw a scenario where the Skarmory kind of got an Air Slash and a Brew through. Very interesting. It's basically 2 Powder Snows to those 2 Air Slashes. So kind of an interesting finish. Probably some state of the game, some extra energy after a charge move. Unfortunate there, but very, very well done by Pisecivor, getting the victory and is now the champion.
Extremely conclusively as well. We see a 2v3 with the Skarmory Brave Birding to really cement the victory. And yeah, that fish eater eating up all the other fish in this tournament. Extremely well played throughout, and getting the cup, getting the victory, getting the championship title is one thing. Doing it with Phalanx is something that's even more endearing to me.
Absolutely. Wow. Basically a double, whatever. I don't know what the opposite of a double whammy is, but Pisecivor did just that. Very amazingly done. The undisputed king of the god tier this time around. Very well done. Honestly, probably, we see so many, outside of the Pisecivor Sage Grouse matchup, these are all 3-2s. Unless you include Hot Striker, obviously completely wrecking Dunebug. That was this probably was the most intense tournament I've ever witnessed. We could put this tournament up with any other tournament that I've ever personally witnessed, and it was equally as intense. Very beautiful plays on both sides. We saw so many catches, so beautiful energy management, and just an amazing winner coming in with a spicy Phalanx.
And you know what? Not only did Pisecivor win with the Phalanx, not only did they go 3-0, 3-2, 3-2, grit, tooth and nail going through it, but this isn't even the first time that they are a league champion. Last season, they were actually the Viridian champion as well. So they have seriously put in such an amazing effort through their entire Go Stadium tiered season. And, taking on Hot Striker, who, again, as we referred to before, was the runner-up, losing to NHoff in that New Bark, in the New Bark finals. as who could forget? But with all of that said, I think it's time to take a look at, because obviously these guys are all in God tier already, and they're just at the peak. They were fighting for that championship. Let's take a look at a little bit of a look back at all 6 finals that we've seen so far, all of the people who've gone through, all of the people who've gone through on playoffs. Let's hop into that right now. And so here we go. We've got the God tier boomers over on the Holden side.
You can credit me with that name.
Oh man, I love that name so much, and it's quite accurate.
Yeah, these are the folks that were already in God tier and are remaining in God tier into this new season, have not been demoted to the Elite Trainer tier. Obviously, on that right-hand column, we've got Jmillz and NHoff, both hanging out with Pisecivor hanging out with the trophy, the God tier champion of the Go Stadium season. If you go to the next box over, we have the people who qualified through these finals. As we've seen, we've got those 5 people who did get the championships: Shiny Hunter Ben, Ball 14 Moore, Party Marty 18, Giratina Belcher, and Tony Jr. 3850, all winning their own town championships. And all of these other names who we saw get to those green boxes on the right hand of those brackets: Nezabeth and Duranja, Holden McNugget, Starkright Shaman, Master Ollie, JD Beats 3, Ooh, Superman 23, and AK9 as well. And then we've actually got this next box, which is the people who then went ahead to qualify via the playoffs. So we may have seen them in these league finals and they did not make it to the green boxes, but through playoffs were able to land themselves a spot in God tier anyway. We've got You've87, Ahmad ZR, the real D Long, Sean from LA, or Scan from LA. It's very fair. It might be Scan. I'm not too sure.
That's an E.
That's an E. Sean from LA. I've got Rhino City, Cytochrome T, Harvey Ramos 93, MHF 90, Status N, The Bearded Tit, Will Sims MS, 2016 T Douglas, and Necrotic Fate. Almost all of those names were in the league finals as well. So basically, these are just an incredible bunch of battlers, and I actually can't stress enough, if you would like to get involved with the Go Stadium lead structure, fight your way up to God tier to take on these other best battlers in the world. I may have gone to the wrong one there. That's the Horizon Cup. We've got the league structure here. Again, looks like Jmillz has not been covered up on this one. That's all right. We don't need to see the screenshot just yet. We'll hop back to it in a sec. But if you want to join in the Ace Trainer tier and fight your way up, there's going to be a link in the description down below to join the Go Stadium Discord. So hop in there, get involved, fight your way through, and meet Jmillz and NHoff up in God tier when you're in a couple seasons time. So with all of that said, I will hop back to that initial screen. We've seen some incredible battles today from some of the best battles in the world in the Elite and God tier finals. I really want to thank NHoff and Jmillz for being some incredible brains to cast through these battles from these top tier battles, including the Phalanx winning, essentially topping Go Stadium. So NHoff, have you got any last words? And also let us know where we can find you afterwards, where you may be.
Yeah, of course. So I am, obviously I'm in the Go Stadium Discord as both a member of the God lobby and as a meta analyst, so you can always DM me there if you have any questions or want to reach out. I stream on twitch.tv/NAHoff because NHoff was taken. And then on Twitter I am Goddess NHoff, taking obviously my earned title from this lobby structure. You can find me at any of those places, but wow, just like this tournament was exceptional. I just want to reiterate, like, every single turn, like that blizzard catch, everything was just great to watch.
Absolutely. And Jmillz, the very, very, I mean, probably the most accomplished ventriloquist of all time. Doing this for over 2 hours, really incredibly well done. But seriously, thanks for coming on. Any last words and where we can find you?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to apologize for my webcam not working out. I wish I would have shown my reactions to some of those battles, like, visually, because I swear I was like, you'll just have to imagine it, but I was going nuts with some of those plot plays. You can find me on Twitter, Jmillz113. I also do stream on Twitch. I just saw the talking there. You can also find me on Twitch Also Jmillz113. Kind of took like a mini break for part of the season, but I am going to try to get back into it and do some more fun stuff. If I was showing off some of the Candle to Legend there, so if you like to see some fun spice and things like that, feel free to check that out. Also, just wanted to thank you both for this awesome time. Like, this was an awesome shoutcast. NHoff, really a pleasure shoutcasting with you and Steve, doing everything behind the scenes and being the world's greatest host. Just wanted to thank you both, because this was amazing.
Yeah, can't echo that enough. Really, proper job from both of you. Extremely stand-up production and shoutcasting partner here.
And obviously, because we are at the end of the Go Stadium League finals, I do want to give a huge thank you to all of the Go Stadium staff as well. Not only the staff who are keeping the entire show running, but the tournament managers who are keeping all of the lobbies running smooth, keeping those tournaments going every month. And then huge thank you to Torpedo Runner, who is the absolute spearhead of this tiered structure. Does so much work behind the scenes, getting all of the lobbies set up, sorting out where the promotions lie, who's going to what lobby, and he's been the big force behind these league finals as well. So he's an absolutely incredible guy. He's put in so much work for the community, and Go Stadium just wouldn't be what it is without Torpedo Runner. So shout out to him, because this is all his baby essentially. So yeah, with that said, thank you for watching. Do go ahead and join Go Stadium if you have not already. Check out these two links, are all in the description down below, and yeah, we'll see you in the next Go Stadium season.